that's where I'm at now. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel that. All right, well, we're like on air now. Say hi, Brendan.
Oh, hello, everybody.
So we were just talking about some inflammatory shit that Brendan believes. No, I'm kidding. We weren't really talking about much, actually. Just
My mom said I can't say anything stupid.
Well, does she even define clearly what that means? Like, what the fuck is stupid?
I'm not gonna talk about my mom anymore on this show.
You don't have to talk about your mom if you don't want to.
I love my mom.
Yeah,
That's
me too.
all I'm gonna say.
So
I love you, Mom.
So how's work been at your new job?
I just got a new day. Hopefully I don't get stung by another bee. It's weird because the other day I woke up early. I'm not used to waking up early, and I had to shit, and I just didn't have enough time to shit, and I had the runs. It hurt, like, you know, when you got to get it out of your butt because it hurts.
Yeah.
And I went to work, and the bathroom is just full of bees. So I had to sit there and make sure the bees didn't sting me while I pooped. They were cool with me, though. It was just that one time I got stung, I reached in to grab something in the sink, and there was a bee on it, and I guess I wrapped my hand around it, and it just felt this huge, giant human hand. It was like, fuck this, and just, like, it clung onto me and kept, like, stabbed me with its ass, like, humping my ass with the stinger.
So you got
humping
stung,
my finger
so you
with
got
the
stung
stinger.
by a bee?
Yeah.
Yo, you want, look, check it out. When we go live, Facebook does subtitles, like closed captions automatically, so that's pretty funny.
Get ahead of you, bud.
It's like anime, but more retarded.
That's funny.
I like that shit. So yeah, I'm sorry you got stung by a bee, but otherwise you said you liked the job, right?
Yeah, it's really simple. It's not what I'm used to. I'm used to more high volume, high stress situation.
All right,
It's
so
really
you guys
cool.
at your new job, you guys basically deal with cannabis products or like THC products?
Yeah, they do a bunch of weird. They have it's mostly the store. It's a storefront. You can go in there and buy things, but mostly they distribute a lot to like 48 different states of like their products. Their honey, THC infused honey or regular honey. They have CBD and THC infused goods and like brownies, cartridges, gummies. We make a lot of gummies. We just supposedly they've been growing, so that's why I got hired. So I have to make like a couple thousand gummies tomorrow.
Wait, so you're gonna make a couple thousand gummies in a single day?
It's just gonna be like it's every day. It's like it seems like it's 7 hours or
Yo,
so.
dude,
of
are
the
you
same thing.
are you really gonna pay me back for that metro fare? Because I swear to God, dude, I will fucking kill you.
Yeah.
I was kidding. I'm not gonna actually.
Okay.
You don't even have to pay me back. Like I don't care. In fact, I consider that as payment for your employment as an employee of Terrorisk podcast.
Okay, cool. I get a Metro card so I can make it to work and go through the ghetto in Tompkinsville where there's shit on the steps and there's a bunch of junkies at the bus station, and I have to watch out because the bus will just not stop because they don't want to pick up all these people. So I have to you have to fight for the bus in this neighborhood because the bus is like, fuck this place. Fuck these hoodlums. Like it's a weird route for me to.
What's your pay gonna be? Like fucking $30 for the work? Is it gonna be like a $30 check or something?
No, they give me $15 an hour.
Okay.
And he pays me right away. Like if I worked Friday, they paid me that Friday for the 2 days I did work. So I had at least enough money to get things, get back and forth. Of course I bought. The first time I bought a $35 eighth in New York City in at one of the stores because I'm like. When I was a kid, you couldn't just go to the store and buy weed. You have to go meet some fucking dude.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I mean, even for me nowadays, I'm not used to it still. It's I love it, though. I mean,
it should have been the option the whole time rather than having to go to some strange neighborhood and run into some people who are doing it illegally, go into some strange person's house or some shit. Like, it's safer anyway.
You know what? That's refreshing. Like, most of the time, like, older people who talk about, like, their past, it's like, oh, things were so much better back then. At least this is that one thing you get where it's like, you know what? This is better. We get to buy weed at delis now, which is nice.
It's good, and it's regulated. They're not just selling shit. It's regulated.
Your mom's regulated.
Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
Me neither.
It's not. Wait. What do you mean by regulated? I don't think it's that regulated. I mean, what's there to regulate? It's probably easier than even cigarettes because cigarettes has all these like chemical additives to it to get them more.
Well, the thing about weed is people sell drugs like cocaine and they assume they can make more money if they cut it with something or fuck with it. Weed is just it sells itself, so they really don't need to. Even if they are a shady person, there's no logical reason to fuck with somebody's weed to make it better. Weed is weed. It's gonna get them high. Just sell it. Don't cut it. Don't add something. You can't really cut it. And what are you gonna add to fucking weed?
I could think of a bunch of shit you could add to weed to make it more exciting. We could put a little bit of coke in it.
Didn't know you like to get wet.
Yeah, you could put a little bit of. I think PCP would be a great addition to weed. Personally, I think it'll give it that all natural kick. That it'll be like, just like an extra spice.
There's a couple times in high school when I smoked a random joint with some metalheads or some shit, and outside of school afterwards, and I was always had high anxiety when I was a kid, so like I would get high sometimes and be like, oh my god, it was laced. I feel weird, even though I was just high. It just wasn't that.
Did that ever actually happen to you?
But they would fuck with me and be like, it was laced with PCP. There's angel dust in there, bro. And they would like try to fuck with me and like to do weird things and like freak me out. That's why when I was a kid, I liked drinking more than smoking because I drank, I felt confident. If I smoked, I might be like, holy shit, what's going on? And get all paranoid and shit.
Yeah, I guess that too is an acquired taste. I think. Oh, wait, I meant to ask, did that ever actually happen to you? Like, did you ever get? Never.
I don't think I've ever. That's one of the drugs I've never had in my body. I don't think is PCP. It doesn't. It's never sound pleasant. Like if somebody's like, "Yeah, man, it makes you fucking freak the fuck out. You want to try it?" I'm like, "No." Mm-hmm. Does it make me feel good? No. It's just fucking weird. I'm like, why would I want to do that? I use drugs to feel better. And feel good.
I guess it's more
like abnormally good.
I mean, it's the same reason why you did ecstasy. Like you just wanted to seek thrills.
Yeah, I wanted to have that feeling of like, oh my god, I love everything. I feel so free and magical. Everything's like a fucking Disney movie right now. I did Percocets. It wasn't like that. It was just like, oh, I feel really comfy.
Yeah, it's a motherly embrace.
Yeah, it's just numbing. It's nothing extravagant or fun. It's just. At first I could just walk around the neighborhood without a care in the world with my headphones on, and after a while it just became a numbing thing. I couldn't feel love, never got horny, which you don't realize how much you miss being horny when you do that shit.
When you're on opiates?
Yeah, you don't get horny ever. Not
really?
At all. No, you lose your sex drive completely. You don't even masturbate. You can't feel it.
I see.
You can't feel nothing. It's like trying to fuck when you're like extremely drunk. It's like, dude, just wait till the morning.
That's why there's that trope. It's like all the dope head chicks go to the dealers. It's like
I realized certain drugs work differently on females. Certain things like I don't know, certain drugs like cocaine.
Yeah.
Guy that does a bunch of cocaine, your dick turns into a little shrimp. It just happens. And females supposedly, oh my god, I have amazing orgasms. Like, you can feel it? Well, on this shit, like, this shit numbs everything in my body, where, like, certain things that girls take, I guess it was different. I don't know. I've heard a lot of different reviews on these drugs. Certain drugs that make men lose their sex drive theirs. So I don't know. I also think maybe every separate person's a little bit different on these things.
I've always liked that term, sex drive. Like we're driving. It's a driving force,
It's the instinct to procreate that that makes you want to fucking be horny. I think that you lose that when you're on heroin.
I want to fucking drive to Sex Town, baby.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what my sex drive is.
If I need to, you go fucking, You might go upstairs or just get some. You don't do that.
Sex drive. It killed my sex drive.
It killed my capacity for wanting to have any type of relationship, romantically or sexual. Can I take a little bit? Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Don't get too high.
I'm a little bitch.
Yeah, you know how you are on the mic when you get too high. You get all cagey. You get all self-conscious. you get all up in your head.
What's that New York weed, yo?
What?
Yeah, I do get in my head.
I don't do that on weed. Maybe it's because I've built up a really high tolerance to this stuff.
On weed, man. I'm growing the tolerance, but I'm still on, like, my siblings. My siblings will wake up and they'll just be like, I'm going to smoke a bat-sized joint outside. I'm like, how are you doing things right now? Like, I would go right back to sleep. It used to help when I was younger. It's like make me eat more. It's hard for me to get an appetite in the day. I kind of like almost force feed myself throughout the day until like nighttime when I think it's an acceptable time to like drink and get stoned. Yeah. And that's when I'll like start going to town on some shit.
Well, so tell the folks about your first experience at H Mart.
H Mart is beautiful. They didn't have star fruit. But I think that's seasonal. But I got
Star fruit.
I got 2 packages of ramen. That one was chopaghetti, which is like very savory and sweet and easy to eat. It almost tastes bland when you use the spice, and the other one's a kimchi spicy one. I can always tell by the character on the package whether it's spicy or extremely spicy, because the character will either just have like a slightly red forehead,
Yeah.
like an anime-looking little cute little character. I forgot the name. It has a name actually. It's like the trademark character for that bulldog.
Oh yeah, the fucking
Yeah.
the mukbang ramen.
Yeah. And like, so the kimchi just has it like it's eating, but it's like head is like red, but then like really hot shit. It's like it has like a fireball coming out of its mouth. And I'm like, okay, this is probably the real heavy fucking shit, right? I
So is that so? Like, I just wish we got to eat there. You know, like if we went there earlier during the day and like made a day of it and got to go to the restaurant or something. I feel like that would have been a good time.
I want to try one time, like get some money and we make our own Korean barbecue.
Oh yeah, I told you I would do that for you. I'd make you some pork belly.
Well, wouldn't we need like to serve it like a cast iron plate?
I have a couple of options. I got a wok and I got this portable stove grill thing, which is like
Yeah, it's kind of like a cast iron probably.
no.
Oh.
It kind of functions almost like a Foreman grill because it's slotted and it's got like a grease catcher. It's interesting. I'll show it to you. Fuck. So aside from that, you missed the rave. You bastard. That I was
sorry.
playing at. It's all good.
It
Honestly.
was my first day of work, and I
Yeah.
actually did get there late too. I was like, they were pissed at me at first. And I was like, I'm gonna lose this job on the first day. I'm already fucking half an hour late on the first day. So I was trying to figure out the buses, and the buses were all fucked up. And school just started, so it stopped at the college for like a half.
Oh
an
my
hour.
god, the fucking traffic since the school year started.
Fuck those kids, man.
No, not all the kids. For me, it's a very specific. Yo, I just read. I read this article from the Times. Like this is the New York Times, and they wrote about how like Hasidic schools, especially like in the New York City area, how the Hasidic schools are like flush with cash, but they have like abysmal standardized test results. Like these kids could barely fucking read, could barely do like basic math, no science whatsoever. You know, and like by the time they like quote unquote graduate, like they could barely speak English, and it's like fucked up. And nobody really notices it because they're so like insulated as a community.
What are they using the money for? Are they like
Oh,
funneling it?
Good fucking question, you know, right? Who the fuck knows?
You
Yo.
don't they want to educate their people?
I love how my cat is perched up next to the camera and is like precariously dangerous to like knocking it down. Oh, he's getting curious about it. He's just gonna eventually swat it out. But until that happens, I guess
Nice.
we could just lament about the school year. You know what you got to do? You gotta get your own car or something, or a bicycle, or I mean, oh, sorry, no, you have a bicycle. I mean, like a moped or some shit.
Yeah, I need something, man. I'm sick of taking the fucking hate taking the buses. I'm so used to being able to ride, but it's the neighborhood my job is in. It's impossible to just ride through up there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna ride halfway through Staten Island just to get to my job and be a sweaty mess when I get there, and it takes like 2 hours.
Yeah. Fuck, I just realized like this camera angle makes it so that it's like right in my cat's favorite spot to lay down. I'm just gonna move it real quick. Oh, I don't know if I could do this. Oh, this sucks. Whatever. Let's do this. That should be fine. So yeah, as you can see, I'm very considerate of my cat's comfort when I shouldn't be. He's a little bastard, but
He's still looking over the other, like he moved it.
yeah, I did it for
Did
I
fucking swipe it.
No, I did it for him. I did it for this little shithead. Yes, sir. So, you excited to go back to work tomorrow? This is like your second week of work.
I'm not like, particularly excited. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah. Do you work with any cute women? Any cute girls? Like
Not
girls?
really. There's only a couple of people who work there. There's one girl there who makes the coffee and does like data input and stuff, like just ordering stuff, and like I'm supposedly replacing her. She's moving.
Data input. My favorite job. That's the most fascinating professional field is data entry. I'll have you know. Birdie, you work at Birdie Blott's Every Flavored Beans.
No, it's just called BCBs.
And you guys sell THC honey
We sell
products.
bees. No. No, yeah, we sell THC honey. I have a bottle of honey with me. Hold on, it's BZB's honey.
No, we don't need to.
I carry it just in case my blood sugar goes low. I was talking about the other day. I'm like, dude, if I die here with a low blood sugar, it would be really fucking ironic because I'm just surrounded by honey.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be funny if like you just got someone a gift from your job and it's just like a box of bees. That's the shit.
Amazon brings it, you just open it up, they just fucking fly everywhere.
Yeah. Fuck, man. I'm like scared to start going back to like martial arts classes regularly.
Why is that?
I don't know, because it's like a whole other commitment. I mean, I'm always thinking in my head, it's like I gotta put in more hours on like music production. I gotta actually like work on my tracks, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I haven't been to sword class in a little bit. I gotta go back to that, and then it's like, oh what, I still have to do the podcast, and I mean, don't ask me why I'm so adamantly working on the podcast, like, because I don't really know, but. What I do know is that I enjoy it. And another thing is that like the whole process of editing, producing the podcast, and going on the podcast, it just kind of makes me like exercise muscles that kind of bleed over. Like it exercises skills that bleed over into like my other interests. So that's kind of why I want to keep it up. And I don't know. I mean, the reason why I listen to sometimes other podcasts is to kind of simulate the feeling of like hanging out with like other dudes or other people when I'm on like drives by myself, and I don't know, I think there's some value in that.
Yeah, I get that. Lately, I've just been listening to an audiobook.
What book?
Lord of the Rings.
Really? Why not just read the book?
It's nice to have, because some of these guys are really good. They do like multiple voices and do the accents, and then like they'll put like the right music in the background and like sound effects. So it's like it's like. And it's like, you know, you can only get so much footage of a movie before it's way too long. And like already the movies are like 3 hours long each. But you can have like a book that takes like 20 hours to read. And that's just one part of it. But you can add everything into it. Every sound effect, every like little detail, every voice. And so I think that's cool. I'd like to do
We should record an audiobook.
I want to. I can do the Schmiegel voice pretty well, and that's about it.
Let's do an audiobook, and we'll pick a book, right? We'll record the whole audiobook. We'll put it on YouTube, and you'll do the voice. You'll do the main narration. Actually, I'll do the main narration, and you'll do all the dialogue.
I'm pretty good at narrating.
Yeah? All right, so then you do the narrating, and I'll do the dialogue.
Yeah, but there's like so many voices you have to do, like an orc voice, and you have to do like the Schmiegel voice sounds like this, you know.
Well, I'm not talking about fucking Lord of the Rings.
And then you have to be able to speak Elvish in some spots.
I would not record an audiobook with you if it was fucking Lord of the Rings. First of all, too many people must have fucking did that shit already. Think about it.
Not enough, I don't think, because like people.
Not enough. Oh, not
because
no. Let's go back to that. Wait, not enough. You say not enough people have recorded audiobooks of Lord of the Rings. That's. I just want to.
Not enough that the people take them down because Andy Serkis, the guy who does the voice of Gollum and other characters, has his own Lord of the Rings audiobook that's official. But some of the people do it better than them, and they keep cutting them down. So you'll see it for a week or two.
I just wanted to confirm that that's what you said. That you said not enough people do audiobooks of Lord of the Rings.
Well, they don't get to stay up there.
All right. Well, I'm just making sure that's what you said.
Like take them down, you can't find them again. And like
I was thinking something else. You know, like we could do an audiobook of some other book. You know, maybe something easier than Lord of the Rings. You're right. It is fucking hard to do all
I don't
those
like
characters.
much fiction.
What?
Other than that, I'm not really into fiction.
Oh fuck. We'll pick some stupid fucking book like the Confederacy of Dunces. I heard that's a good one. We could do an audiobook of that.
I don't know what that is.
Oh well, I'll read it to you and we'll record it, and that'll be our audiobook. No, I joke, but it's actually a good book. I think you would enjoy it. Actually, you know what? Nah, I don't think you'd like it. It would probably make you sad. You probably should not read Confederacy of Dunces.
Read some kid books at first. The runaway bunny.
Yeah. Shit, dude. I can't believe you went to the hospital, like, what was it, just last night?
No, I didn't go to the hospital. I called the EMT and they came. And before they came, I realized I had made a mistake. So it was really embarrassing. I took tests.
Well, it was because your machine fucked up, right?
No, I didn't look at it the correct way. It was the lighting. I did it in the dark. I thought it was 28. My blood sugar was really 281. And I started guzzling down cranberry juice and chocolate. And they got there, and I finally like pulled my glucometer out, and I put it to the light. I'm like, Mom, there's really no emergency. Okay, but they're already fucking coming. It's like, oh great, now I have to sit here and wait for the EMT to come.
You fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up.
You know what happened?
I panicked.
Yep. Yo, how did you know what I was going to say?
Because if you think your blood sugar's 28, that's like, how am I not even dead? I got 2 seconds to live before I can call the 911 and then pass out in the middle of the conversation.
You ever heard of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yes. I didn't read it. No, I watched that movie, though.
You know what the #1 rule is, right?
No.
The motto, the slogan, don't panic.
Yeah, that doesn't really work for me.
No?
I have anxiety. Sometimes panicking helped me out in a lot of situations, I think.
Nah, panicking categorically generally makes shit worse. I disagree with you on that assessment. I think you should do everything you can to avoid panicking. Do you have a key on you by any chance?
Yes.
Give me one key I could use, or just your keys. So anyway, what happened? So you thought you were gonna die. Did you get a new machine?
Nope. No, I don't have a new machine.
Okay. Well, do you have the money to pay for the expenses of
No,
your
my machine's working fine right now. It's I need a new sensor thing for my arm so I can just test it on the go without having to prick my finger.
Do you still is that like so beneath you now? You're like, not only plebeians prick their fingers to check their blood sugar level.
No, it's just easier to be able to test it on. Like, I can be like walking, talking with somebody and test it real quick. I can be at work and cooking and doing something and test it real quick. And it also has an alarm, so if it does start to go too low, I can at least it'll ring an alarm for me. So I'll be like, oh shit, and it'll tell me before I'm dying, rather than testing it.
Thank you, Brendan.
Sure. Now my fucking keys are felonies.
Oh, come on. Don't be such a pussy. So anyway, you did miss that fucking aside from you dying, which I was kind of worried about. Like, as soon as you said, like, I spent a night in the hospital, my immediate thought, honestly, was that your aunt died.
No. I'm okay.
All right. Aside from that, yo, goddamn you for missing that party. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad you missed it because I fumbled the set a little bit. I messed up.
Yeah, I saw that post of yours. Yeah.
Well, other people came up to me and they were like, "Yo, you did so good." I was like, "Oh, thanks." I mean, I didn't know who they were, but apparently they liked it.
It's like playing live. A lot of times you play live, especially with guitar and singing, and like you fuck up and everything's in slow motion. So you're like, boom, and you're like, oh shit, everyone knows. And when you rewatch it, it's like it sounds fine, or it sounds like you were doing something cool, like a little ditty in the middle of it. Like that time you recorded me playing Cool Down, there's a part where I totally fucked up, and I like caught back on track, and it just sounded like I was doing an extra lead, and like nobody noticed it.
I think one of my saving graces was mixing in key, but otherwise the vibes were cool. I was pretty wrecked, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse. That is no excuse to play like a subpar set. I was just sloppy because my reasoning is that I just don't have enough practice behind CDJs, and I was just like, I'm so used to using controllers, and I think I got too comfortable with that format, to being able to compare and see your waveforms and have your BPM analyzed and processed instantly, and I just got too spoiled and comfortable. So now I gotta like really downgrade my tech and just practice on like vinyl even, just to get my chops up.
Just start from basics.
Yeah. Get up to the next level, you know. I have to go forward. I have to move back.
I see that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Or I could just do the sensible thing and just fucking give up, you know, instead of being like a 31-year-old DJ. Like, oh, fuck. I'm turning 31.
You don't have to be young to be a fucking DJ, though, right?
No, that's true. It gets harder because, I mean, it just looks worse and worse. But if you're good, you're good. You know, nobody could take that away from you. But yo, it's my birthday this month on the 23rd.
Oh, word. Happy birthday. How old are you going to be?
It's not my birthday. What?
How old are you going to be?
I'm going to be 31.
Ooh.
Yeah, exciting, right?
Yeah.
Not really. To me, it's just another year that I probably spent most of wasting. Should have did more. I always feel like that at the end of every year, though. So I'm not really making a big deal of it.
Yeah, I remember in high school once, and I thought I had an uneventful year. And there was some girl that I was friends with who told me it doesn't matter what you did; it matters the experiences you had. And I really, it helped me. Because I was OCD about I didn't do enough things this year. I don't have enough like cataloged in my things that I did. But I had a lot of experiences in growing things. And I think that's really, you know, especially when you're younger, that's what matters more. I think it's not about what you did or accomplished. It's a matter of what you learned and had experiences with that you can carry on and be able to use later in life, I think.
Yeah. I think the only thing that happened to me throughout this year was probably that I got a little more antisocial. You know, I got a little more liberal with cutting people out. Verbally, too, to their face. Like, I don't think we should hang out anymore. And, I don't know. I mean, it's just... I don't think anything really bad has come. Maybe it's because I'm so conditioned, you know, to believe that, like, oh, you have to preserve all of your relationships and friendships at all costs. It's a precious, precious thing. Maybe it's just I feel a little off because lately it's like my experience has been contrary to that. Like I've just been like fucking telling people to fuck off from my life, and things have been going a little better, you know, a little more tangible, especially with the shit I want to do. You know, it takes up a lot of like mental energy and time, and when you're dealing with like bullshit with other people, kind of drains that, you know. So yeah, I've gotten more liberal with cutting people out of my life, but it is what it is.
I don't know. I don't really cut people out as much as I just don't meet up with them anymore. I'm like, okay, what they're doing right now, I just really need to be a part of it. So I just like distance myself. I keep them there just in case
that's
changes.
You know what? That's how I try to do it too. And like that's generally like my default. But sometimes like you'll have like one or too many intense experiences with them, and you become like kind of a fixture in their day to day. And then the minute you stop hitting them up for a minute, and then they start hitting you up, and they start you kind of want to, you try to like shove them away somehow, like politely, but it just doesn't work. And eventually you just got to tell them straight up. It's like, dude, honestly, I do not want to fuck with you anymore. Like, you're a dick.
I don't know. Yeah, I've just got back recently, so it's just been like trying to see who's where, who's at what.
You were really close to cutting some motherfuckers out, like your early days here, like when you got pissed at.
I don't like to mention people's names in these things.
Oh shit, sorry. But nobody's gonna know who that is, and that's just one example. We don't even have to talk about that, so let's just drop it. But at least you know how I feel, right?
Yeah, I just don't want. I don't know. I just want somebody telling me they're doing one thing and they do the other.
Yeah. All right, we don't even have to talk about names, but I'm saying like, yeah, that's a scenario.
Like if you like, you know, going out and doing a bunch of fucking drugs and shit, and just like,
that's with anybody.
No,
yeah,
it's like,
but you
let
know
me know if you're gonna do it.
You know what?
I can prepare for that.
But you know what
fine,
the thing is?
know?
It's also hard because people could honestly all feel like they've had that done to them, but at the same time, I bet most people have done that to other people without even like really realizing, right? Like I'm sure I've done it. I'm sure you've done it. Like truthfully. Which is all good, you know.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I'll own up to it, you know. And I think that's the way to true understanding is when people throw rocks, right, and criticize people of like negative behavior. I think it's also important to add in. It's like, first of all, I wouldn't know to be able to point this out so clearly and so accurately unless I myself have been guilty of it at one point. So I'm not speaking to you from a point of pure judgment.
Well, yeah, that's why when somebody tries to bullshit somebody who's like been on drugs before, and it's like, no, I'm fine, I'm not doing this right now. I'm like, gee, I can tell. Or somebody who's like, I'm just, I'm meeting my old dealer. Nobody meets their old dealer with a pain back. Come
You're
on,
picking
man.
up,
Come
dude.
on.
You're picking up.
I know I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you're fucking picking up, dude.
I'm either just ditching them, pretending I'm not trying to see them again and not paying that shit back, or I'm doing bad shit.
No, I mean that really is the most useful tool to like really change someone's mind about their like patterns and shit, is to straight up tell them, it's like, I'm not telling you this because of pure judgment. I'm telling you this because I did exactly what you're doing now. I've made this exact same mistake, and this is how it turned out for me, and this is why you shouldn't
There's
fucking
certain
do that.
people I don't really dislike. It's just I'm like, I don't really want to be around that, or like I can't even handle that type of energy right now, so I just won't meet up with them. It's not that I don't like them or don't like want to support them in any way, but I just don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm just like, okay, I want to go home and I'm stuck here.
Yeah,
You know? It's like I don't have a car, so I have to ride my bike back. So if I get somewhere and I don't like the vibe, I have to fucking trek back to where I was.
Yeah, I'll teach you how to drive. But fuck. It says my car's a stick, so it's like, if I teach you, is there any way we could borrow like your mom or dad's car?
I doubt it.
I bet your dad would teach you how to drive if you just fucking asked him.
No, he tried back in the day, and even it was a 6 shift too. We had a 6 shift.
Yeah, but can he teach you on just an automatic instead?
Yeah, probably. I don't know if you have the time or anything. I'm not really thinking about that too hard right now. I'm not really worried about driving right at this moment. I don't have the money to pay for fucking gas in a car and insurance and shit. I'm still working.
Oh,
on
yeah,
getting
yeah.
my
By the way,
health insurance.
Speaking of like working and money and shit, you probably saw me post about it, but don't fucking work for like Uber Eats or Grubhub or some shit. Like, they suck.
I tried to, but they wouldn't take my ID. I just wanted to make an extra couple bucks until I got
dude,
like
fuck
the ball
them.
rolling.
Don't fucking work for that gig economy bullshit. I like your job. I like the idea. If you stick around there and like let your parents set you up like the way they're doing now, I'm sure you'll get it. Like, you'll go up in the ranks, because first of all, it's a company that I think you as a person fundamentally wouldn't disagree with on a moral level.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. I like, even if it's like a repetitive, like, if I'm repetitively working at fucking McDonald's making me chickens, I'm like, eventually, even if they're paying you decent, you still think these people don't need this. This guy does not need another fucking Whopper. Like, fuck these fucking people. Go home and cook like a normal fucking person. Why are you eating this garbage every fucking day? To where, like, every time I make, like, a CBD biscuit, I'm like, okay, this is going to go to some dog that's been abused, maybe tied up somewhere. There was fucking fireworks where they were tied up. Now they have fucking PTSD. Every time the fucking lightning hits, they go and go hide somewhere in the corner. So now their owner can be like, here's the biscuit, and they'd be like, okay, all right, not that bad. So I'm like, every one biscuit I make, it's helping some dog who's fucked up in the head, has like fucking like nightmares of war or something. It's helping them a little bit. Every CBD gummy, it's probably some old person who's afraid to get high and uses it for back pain or something like that. Every time there's a THC gummy, what's a fucking THC gummy? It's good for people. So, it's better than them getting wrecked and get fucking wasted at home. They can just eat half of a fucking brownie, watch Cobra Kai, and just eat a bag of chips and go to sleep. It's not bad. It's not, I think it's a good thing, and we've made a lot of strides with knowing how this is actually helpful. It's not a drug. There's you can get high. Like the other day, I had to I was the only one.
I
up
think
there.
you could get addicted to weed. I think it's possible. Yeah. Like, it's definitely possible to get chemically, physically, and mentally addicted to the weed.
Yeah, just like anything. I can be addicted to chocolate ice cream.
I know cases, well, myself included, where people, like regular users of cannabis, they'll stop smoking and they'll get like fucking night terrors. It's happened to me where I stopped smoking for like a month straight, no weed whatsoever.
A thing that a lot of people, it might not be terrors, but
it's because you dream. You start dreaming.
Yeah,
again.
you start dreaming.
So
again.
no, the reason why I get night terrors is because that's just me. That's who I am as a person. Like I have night terrors because I have nightmarish thoughts constantly in my subconscious lurking. I'm sure if it was another person and they stopped smoking, they would get bubbly dreams or whatever. That's just me. But it's a dream in general. It's a dream in general.
I've had like really psychedelic, trippy dreams. Like really, like whoa. Like wake up and
Dude,
like, what? Where did that come from?
I get like horrific dreams of being like on the ground, like, and there's like people surrounding me, and one guy's got a gun to my head and like pulls the trigger.
Most of my dreams are anxiety dreams. I must have something wrong with me.
Most of my dreams are death dreams, and it's insane how regularly it happens. Which means like I always think about it like so much, and it's crazy.
When I had that blood sugar thing going on with it, my glucometer, then when I went to sleep later on that night, I woke up to many times during dreams where it was like, your blood sugar 17,000. I'm like, okay, well, that's impossible.
But you're gonna die.
You would be like a brick of honey. If at that point, you would not be alive at that point. If it goes above like 800-900, like you're going into a coma in like an hour. But like I had these weird dreams of extravagant like Dragon Ball Z numbers, like it's over 9,000, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. To wake up like, okay, oh, reality again. But I'll wake up and like at first, sometimes the dreams like like the normal, like, oh, you just fucking broke both your legs, you can never walk again, like the weird dreams like that, and like it almost seems realistic. So I'll wake up and go, okay, that didn't happen, oh, we're in reality again. And it takes me a couple minutes to be like, okay, what didn't happen and what was a memory, or
actually,
what really is going on wrong.
What
with
is
me.
fucking interesting is like I'll have people tell me that they have the weirdest, most fucked up, horrific dreams. Like, yeah, I had a dream that I was in like college again, and I had to get up for a presentation, and when I went to speak, like all my teeth started falling out. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I compare that to my horrific dreams, which is like people like killing me and shit, like, you know, very quickly and brutally.
Dude, sometimes I have dreams that are like, they have their own logic to them.
Yeah.
I can't explain it like in like our words. And people are like, I had a dream with this happen. I'm like, you had a dream that like had any relative any relative
Abandoning you, dying.
no, they actually like had some grounding in reality, because I have dreams that are just like random, like there's no such thing as fucking gravity or fucking there's a flying fish. That's normal. That's always been there. You know, like weird things. Like, ever have dreams where you have memories in the dreams that like they kind of it's like you always had those memories.
It's
like I've had dreams where I have a background past of memories that never really existed.
Nah, for me, it's like
this happened 3 years ago.
When I go into dreams, like I'll be in like a ridiculous situation. Like I'll be in some city where things that don't exist, and then I'll go up to a person, I'll ask, it's like, yo, what the fuck is the deal with this? And then they'll tell me some bullshit, weird explanation. I'll buy it instantly for some reason. I'll be like, it's like, oh, don't you know those have already existed? You know? And I'll be like, oh yeah, you're right.
I also have a lot of dreams where in the middle of the dream I realize I'm in a dream.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
those are the craziest dreams.
When I was a kid, I would have dreams, and sometimes they'd be in black and white. And in the dream, like I remember one dream, there was just a train, like a toy train going in a circle in the middle of the room. Mom and Dad was sitting there creepily, just like this. Like just standing there, just like holding each other. I'm like, we're in a dream. And they're like, no, Brendan, everything's something like, Mom, it's black and white right now. We're in a dream. You're not real. I'm like, Brendan, just go take a nap. I think something's wrong with you right now. I'm like, Mom, Dad, you're not real. We're in a dream. We're in a dream. Wake up and go, what the fuck was that? You know, like I have dreams where I'm like telling I've had dreams where I've asked somebody or a friend or a family to hit me as hard as they could in the dream, because I would wake up if there was a big enough impact, which is the truth. If somebody hits you hard enough in the dream or you get pushed off a building, you wake up. And I knew this subconsciously. So I'd be in the dream like, how do I get out of this? Dude, kick me. What do you mean? Kick me so that I fly up into the sky and burst out of this dream bubble. And I had dreams where I would have somebody kick me as hard as they could in the ass, and I'd just go pop out and go and wake up in real life like, what the fuck? I just had a dream person kick me out of the dream, and it worked.
For me, it was like I once had a dream where I dreamt I was in like a future city, a city in the future, and I knew it was a dream. And then, like, you know, I don't even want to get into what happened there. But then I wake up, quote unquote, and I wake up in where I was like staying at the time, which was Jordan's place. And I woke up, it was like morning. I run to Jordan's room and I'm like, yo, you wouldn't believe the fucking dream I just had. And every time I tried to speak, like no words would come out. I would just be like, but I was in Jordan's room, right? And then suddenly I wake up again. This time I was actually in Jordan's room, and then I wake up and the whole house was empty. Jordan was in his room, nobody was there, and I was like, "Fuck!" That was like a dream in a dream moment. I
hate those ones when you keep waking up and it's you know, like, and there's so many times. You know, I hate when they say pinch yourself, because you know what? If you're in a fucking deep dream and you pinch yourself in the dream, it feels like you're fucking pinching yourself, and you're like, oh, checks out. I'm really conscious now. How do I even know I'm conscious now?
I've
had so many dreams where I'm like, what if this is what if I got to work? There's so many times where I've had dreams where I went to work 4 hours in, I'm still cooking, doing shit, and then I wake up and go, oh fuck, I gotta go to work. And I felt like I just fucking worked half a day already, and now I have to actually get up in real life and go, and then I go, and I wake up again. Oh, that wasn't real life. I didn't go to work yet. Holy shit. Like, I've had recurring dreams like that so many times.
Yo, I like the dreams where, like, you go into a toilet in your dream and you think you're peeing, but you're actually, like, peeing.
I don't like that because you wake up and there's piss everywhere, all over you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know, that sucks.
I know, it sucks.
But it happens to everyone is the point.
It's always like, I'm pissing in a toilet and all of a sudden my thighs feel real warm. And I'm just like, why do I feel so warm down in my groin right now? And I wake up and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yo.
God fucking damn it. Like, I wanted to sleep now.
Yo, can you do me a favor? Can you explain the scariest dream you've ever had recently? The most vivid memory of it? I gotta piss real quick.
I have... last time I went through alcohol withdrawals, and it wasn't bad enough to where I need to hospitalize. It was years ago, and I remember sleeping through it, and I had this reoccurring dream of this weird, like, choppy song, and it was on the radio, but it sounded like I don't know, it's almost like a kid's song, like, dum, 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 and there was these blocks just rolling out of a shed somewhere in the middle of, like, a field with some weird creepy, almost like the barn from Courage the Cowardly Dog, and these blocks would rotate and start moving in a certain way, in like a choppy kind of way, and then freeze and stop and go back to the beginning and keep going. And it felt like a loop of being stuck in this song and these blocks. Like, my whole reality was these blocks going 1, 2, 3, 4, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, back. And it was fucking horrifying for some reason. I woke up screaming. Most of my most horrific, nightmarish dreams are really incomprehensible, but the fear and pure horror of it is what makes it scary. So I remember one of the most vivid wet dreams I've ever had in my life, and the whole dream was me laying in my bed in my room, getting up, and there's some Asian chick next to me, sleeping in the bed. I wasn't even attracted to her in a dream. And I got out of the bed in the dream, and I looked out the window, and it was snowing. And all of a sudden, oh, shit, what the? And I woke up, and I was, like, coming. And there was jizz in my pants.
You know what, Brendan? I think that you would be best off with an Asian chick. Seriously. I can't imagine you would.
Why? Why was that?
I don't know. I feel like you'd be really happy with... You'd be immersed in, like, rich culture, and you would get to eat dank food, and you get to make, like, multi-general additions to your family line. I mean, multicultural additions to your family line. You know, you get to enrich everything in your life.
Yo, it's actually natural selection says you should diversify your DNA.
Yeah, race mixing is the way to go.
Yeah, it is like people like used to try to keep their bloodlines clean, and now we have inbreds.
Yeah.
We're really supposed to diversify that shit and like mix around. Like, I shouldn't date just an Irish white chick, even if I liked it. You know,
I mean,
to get a baby that comes out without getting diseases, more resistant to disease, stronger, smarter. You need to mix DNA. That's why the Nazis have it fucking wrong, or the neo-Nazis, and people like, gotta keep it white. It's like, you're gonna end up retarded fucking babies. Like, whether you want to be like white pride or not, you're wrong. Like, on like a scientific level at this point. Like,
I agree.
Like science, like the way evolution is, we have to diversify the DNA to be more resistant to disease and shit like that. So it's actually a natural thing to want to procreate with a different race. It makes sense.
So yeah, you should be with an Asian chick, dude. I think it would be good for you and the girl. Like, you guys could both teach each other Western and East culture. You could intermingle.
Oh, you mean like they just came to this country? Like somebody who was born with like 3 generations here already. They mean like,
well, those people might as well be white. They might as well be like me, you know?
Yeah, but they still have the different DNA. It's more about the DNA than the culture.
I guess, you know, different people value different things. Some people it could be the culture. Some people it could be DNA. Some people it could be both in equal measure, you know, because they're both like they're intralinked, you know. Yo, take your shoes off, you savage. Don't you want to get comfortable?
I'm about to take my shoes off.
Do you need your hands to take off your shoes? Just take off your fucking shoes. You know what I need? I need to get a shoehorn. I need to cop a shoehorn because I've realized putting some of my shoes on have proven to be more difficult than if I just use a shoehorn. So I'm gonna get a shoehorn.
A shoehorn for what? What does a shoehorn do?
It helps you put on your shoes easier. It's like this weird curved bladed thing almost. You put it on the back of your shoe so they could slide your foot in easier without bending your shoe. It's a neat tool. It's very handy. Maybe I'll get your household a shoehorn. Yo, that's a perfect gift for the Mullen household if you guys don't have one already.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for neighbor.
You're not talking to the mic, yo. Hurry the fuck up.
Mr. Rogers shoe thingy.
All right, so I got a challenge for you. Pretend I'm not a Korean person, right?
Okay.
And you had to convince me you spoke Korean by speaking Korean, but I don't know Korean, but you got to speak Korean to me.
I haven't heard Korean in a long time. I can do Vietnamese. It's
right,
pretty simple. Everything's one syllable.
Do Vietnamese.
Dom, ding, don, bang, da, fo, ga. Be pho. I can't do Korean, though. That's different than Korean, totally. Vietnamese is very different. It's very, like, bouncing around because you're hitting only one syllable each word. It's like bang, ding, bang, dang, bang. You know?
I want Vietnamese food, though.
Pho is fucking delicious. It's good. You can just drink that pho and, like, you sustain yourself by just drinking the broth. It's really healthy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bone
yeah,
broth?
it's bone broth.
Yeah.
It takes like 24 hours to make a batch.
Beef pho is good shit. Are we live?
Yeah.
Nobody's commented.
Well, because it's pretty fucking late and you can't expect it every time. Consistency is key. It's not that, like, you know, honestly, the podcast is like, isn't so much as like drawing in the biggest crowd every time. It's more like just being a home, like a shelter, a refuge of sorts. You know, it's like when everything is whatever to you and you need something new, something novel, at least Terrorisk will always be there talking shit. You know? Also, you know, I think we're pretty cool, chill guys. We're New York natives, you know? Sometimes people want to hear from a New York native every once in a while.
Yeah, I guess so. That does help in a lot of things. I've gotten jobs before, just been like, I'm from New York. It's like, he's a hard worker. I'm like, what does that fucking mean?
Yeah.
I know plenty of people who are not hard workers that are from here, but I guess other places assume we're just a lot more, a lot tougher. Which I guess in some situations we are.
Well, I think one ways New Yorkers could be tougher is the general nihilism, the darkness of humanity, which is that, like, you know, like, yeah, there's a lot of good things about humans. There's also a lot of negatives, particularly the senselessness and the meaninglessness and the depravity, because that's a very real thing. I mean, people have pointed fingers in bigoted ways at it. They blamed, like, oh, the Jews, the black people, the Asians, the whites, whatever. You know, aside from blaming that, it's a constant, like, it's a consistent malaise that just, like, you know, plagues humanity. Mostly because we could feel things. We're self-aware. We value our lives, and we're all inherently mortal. Like, we all have a ticking clock that says we're going to die soon, one day. So that's already, like, a depressing thing that humanity in general has to contend with. And, so yeah. It's just kind of like built into us. So...
Oh no, I've even gotten shit for saying this, but from people like you know, about being white in Texas. I'm like, you know, no, I'm not white like you. I'm New York white. There's a big fucking difference between us. Like, I didn't learn Texas fucking history. You know, I grew up in New York. It's different. It's really a different fucking vibe. Like,
Well, that's the thing. Like, see, in a place like Texas, it's kind of easier to look past that, like, deep down darkness, which is because the abyss. Because, like, out there, you got, like, religion, you got the country, you got white supremacy, you got preserving native land, you got
yeah, it's all under the guise of we wish they were still slaves.
But in New York
pretty
City,
much.
but in a place like New York, you know, you got a bunch of people constantly from all different cultures, just like becoming completely desensitized from each other, losing all novelty, and eventually we all rapidly come to the same conclusion. It's
You're,
like, dude,
you're just another fucking asshole in the
yeah,
street.
it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
But I like that. It's still equal, whether it's positive or negative.
The equality is enlightening, but the darkness is in the meaninglessness, you know, like that. So it's a balance. It's a give and take. On one hand, we're completely free. We're free from our shackles of our oppressive cultures, because our cultures can be very oppressive. You know, we're free to be exposed to other cultures and to see what works and what doesn't, and to understand other people and all this shit, and to find like some kind of universal set of ideals or whatever of goodness.
It's also, we also want each other's food.
Yeah,
really
and that
badly.
too. You get to share things. Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna be racist, but like fucking everybody's kitchen Chinese restaurant is like 5 minutes away and I'm starving.
But you know what the problem is? Shit like that only got so good because all those cultures truly believed that they were special at one point. They all had a history of centuries and centuries of thinking they were the shit. Finally, in New York, they realized they're not the shit. But they still have, you know, the things that were produced.
But everyone is the shit in their own way, because like you can get halal food and you're like, oh my god, this shit is fucking good.
Yeah.
If food fucking works, it's a fucking, food is fucking the best way of uniting people. It's
that's the fucking right way to look at it.
Like,
it's not just food, it's art, you know.
You guys look weird to us, but holy fucking god, we never thought of this. Holy shit, how about try this? They're like, holy shit, this is good. It's like, yeah, we could just eat each other's food now.
Yeah, you know what works like that
What kind of
too?
music you got?
Yeah,
music and food. Music and food.
No, and you know what else? You know what else works that way? Fucking movies. You know how much shit South Korea stole from like the Western cinema? Like, it wouldn't be as good as it was today without like stealing many elements from like modern Western cinematic standards. Otherwise, it would end up like Bollywood type shit.
Yeah, that's what's going on. Too bad Bollywood never got the fucking message. And they're just like, we're gonna do another dance. It's like, dude, nobody wants to see a fucking, get on with the plot for fuck's sake. And they're like, Harry Krishna. It's like, dude, like,
you know why? It's because they probably steal that from like Disney movies.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just fucking weird.
Because it works in Disney movies, doesn't it?
It's like, yeah.
It's epic in Disney movies.
Disney movies knows how to like drive the plot through the song and like, did not just stop everything.
It's definitely a higher art
song
form.
And dance kind of
Maybe
thing.
if we understood Indian, that we would feel the same way about those musical pieces in Bollywood movies. You know, maybe if we really got it, if we were assimilated to their culture, we'd be like, damn, that dance, that song, it actually does drive the plot in a way, even though it's fucking stupid looking and very goofy. It still does work.
I remember when I was younger, I saw like a music video of some like band from India or wherever from. I forgot where they were from, but like they're like middle-aged men with like turbans and stuff on. I'm like, do they think this is hot? What is going on? Like, is this like the big band over there?
Bandaloo.
Who?
Bandaloo. Yo, there's this crazy guy on Facebook named Martin Cabello. I'll show you him later, but I want to get him on the podcast. He's like so cool.
I want to try to see if this band from Colombia will want to get their music on the podcast.
Yeah, on the podcast. Really cool. Yo, dude, I still haven't posted the first episode. That was a bust. We could go for another one. It's just, it's so hard to do because, first of all, we can't post that shit on Facebook. Like, we can't do that, like, on Facebook Live. We'll get flagged. I don't even know what's going to go down if we do it on YouTube. Like, if we'll get copyright.
Flag for what?
The copyright hits. Yo, when I was doing the Facebook live stream of us playing the songs like with the Terrorisk radio bits, a lot of it got cut silent because of my own music. Because the distributor I go through for my music that puts it out there, it automatically picks it up played through like unlicensed.
You gotta make your own shit then for that.
What?
Like brand new shit.
Oh yeah, I'm always making new music. Period. That's just what I do. Not to. You know.
Like without getting a beat from somebody or anything.
Yeah, I know.
From scratch.
It's crazy, dude. I didn't even sign a contract, and I already feel like I'm fucking owned by like a record label, you know? I'm not even making any money for it. Shit. Then again, I always swore to myself I wouldn't give a fuck about making money. The fact that, you know, like I have a job and time that affords me to produce things, I should be grateful for that alone. Because like my focus isn't to promote.
Yeah, the one thing I've always felt about like, okay, like look at it like a famous artist. There's certain things once you're famous you can't write about. You gonna write about having to get to work in the morning? No. You have a fucking you're a rock star now. That's why that's one of the things that I liked about punk rock. It's like these motherfuckers are just as poor as me, and they're like, I had to get up today, fucking get to fucking work and shit, but I'm still making music. I appreciate that more. 'Cause it's like, okay, you're allowed to preach to me because you live the same way as me. Rather, it's fucking like, you know, a big fucking band that's been famous for 20 years. How are you going to tell me what you know what life is at this point? You've been so fucking in your own world for so long. You're not one of us anymore. You're not the common man. You're this fucking rock star. You're fucking up here.
See, I could let that slide.
That's why, like, punk shows, a lot of times we don't play with the stage. We'll play, like, down there with the crowd.
Like,
we're one of the crowd.
I could let that slide because I know the truth of, you know, the world and well, not the ultimate universe. I know my truth of the world, and my truth of the world dictates that people have to grow. They can't just stay stagnant just to stay true to their art. If people appreciate an artist, they should appreciate their growth and evolution, you know, in terms of, like, different phases they go through in life. That's a given. What I don't like, however, is the current paradigm on what it takes to actually get famous. To have to sanitize your words, your thoughts, your beliefs, and what you express. You're not allowed to have shitty thoughts anymore as an artist, or otherwise you're just a nobody and you become completely irrelevant. That's what I fight against. I believe fuck that, because a lot of people, like, I see a lot of people, like, who are literally in the business of entertaining others with their, like, craft, with their honest to God art and their work. And then I, like, look at the words, their actual thoughts and feelings that they project, and it's all bullshit. It's all sanitized, because I've hung out with these people in real life, and the shit they tell me and the way they act in real life compared to, like, how they present themselves online, I'm like, this is so dissociated. Like, it's so divorced from reality. It's like, you're bullshitting, dude. You're not being who you are.
This is why I've never liked, like, metalheads or like Cannibal Corpse. I'm fucking. It's like, there's no way your whole vibe of your life is just like this.
Yeah.
There's no way you're this fucking human demon character that has bodies in their fucking, like, cellar. It's like you're just a guy who fucking eats chips and fucking goes to McDonald's and jerks off and fucking watches Cobra Kai, just like me. So, like, how the fuck you can be like? It's like. Nobody's like that.
Yeah, it's like,
what the fuck kind of act are you putting on? Like, that's, I never liked metal that way, because I thought metalheads were full of fucking shit. Like, I'm this, like, I had this one dude who's like, I'm the fucking god of fucking death metal. I'm like, you sell meth and you live under my kitchen table, sir. So
right, but
shut the fuck up.
You gotta give this to metal. It is the
yeah.
It's like the closest. It's the closest to classical music you'll get when it comes to, like, rock music. It's the most, like, complex melodically. And rhythmically, I would say, if you count, like, I don't know, like, gent and shit.
No, I can't deny the musicianship is good, but at the same, I never got the vibe of, you know, just like that heavy. I'm like, I don't. How does that sound? That vibe incorporate into my daily life? How do I sit on the bus like I'm headed to fucking work today to make CBD cookies? How does that vibe with how my normal human emotions feel?
Can I give you an example? Like, Between the Buried and Me. For me, like, I'll listen to that shit if, like, I feel like the existential pressure of, like, working at my job, where I come to the realization, it's like, yeah, you know what? I get paid fairly well for what I do. I don't even work that hard, and I put a lot into this job. And yet, if I were to lose this job, I would be completely fucked. I would be a nobody. I would fall into poverty really fast. I wouldn't be able to afford my own means, my own lifestyles, and I would fall into ruin really, really fast. That is an existential, horrific way to fucking, like, slowly die.
For me, that's where punk rock would come in.
Fuck that. That's no. Punk is for when you're already there. I'm not there yet. It's for, like, this existential nothingness where you realize it doesn't matter if I'm there where I need punk or if I'm here where I don't need punk. What matters is it doesn't fucking matter. Where it's, like, completely all nihilistic. It's all chaos, pure chaos. And that's when fucking that metal comes in, where I'm like, you know what? Life isn't about rebellion. Life isn't about survival or order. It's just all chaos. And metal is pretty fucking. It's
organized chaos.
Yeah, it's organized chaos. That's why I like metal. It's organized chaos.
I just like the first Black Sabbath album, but that's more like hard rock blues.
I mean, I like Animals as Leaders.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh wow, it's like prog metal.
I don't know. I just never liked the metalhead aesthetic. Oh, you wear black and you have long hair and you think you're like this hardcore badass person, but you just listen to people pig squealing.
Well, I don't care about, like, metalheads. I never really associated with metalheads, but, like, you know who I did?
Especially people who are like fucking Satan. It's like, dude, if you met real evil, you would fucking flinch. You
No,
would
but
be
I-
afraid.
Yeah, but I don't fucking.
You're not fucking that
All right.
hardcore, man. You're overweight and you have long hair.
Yeah, but I
and
don't
you play
fucking-
PlayStation.
I don't know that side of metal. What I do know, the only
play
side.
hacky sack in front of the fucking 7-Eleven.
Yeah, but all right.
Shut the fuck up.
All right, fine, great. But I'm trying to say, like, that's not the side of metal that I associated with.
No, I
the
see.
the only side of metal that I associated with was the actual musicians, was the people who played the shit, was people in metal bands. That's what got me into metal. It wasn't fucking coming across or even talking or even thinking about metalheads. It was literally because, you know, through the music scene, I was able to like meet people that played in like metal bands and shit, and I would see what they were about, and I saw them play, and I'd be like, this is fucking amazing. Like, these guys are mad good. Especially even like a cover band that could play every Metallica song. Like, they got chops. Like, it's fucking
Yeah, I'm
crazy.
not saying it's bad music. I just never understood the vibe really of it.
Well, do you understand the musicianship of it at least?
Yeah, so totally. I play music. I listen to
You've
music. I'm a
seen metal
musician,
bands.
yeah.
You know metal bands. Like, you've seen them play. Like, don't you ever just get blown away? You're like, dude, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, but it still doesn't make me feel like much. Like, I can be like, it's like my logical side of my brain is like, that's good. But my emotional side of my brain, whatever the left side, whatever the fucking side it is, I'm just like, I don't really feel anything from
Because
it.
you don't.
It's
because,
just noise.
because you don't identify with it.
Yeah, I don't identify with it. Yes,
But that doesn't mean it's bad or not good.
no,
It
I'm not
means-
saying it's not good.
It
I'm
could
just
be
saying
what
I
it could
just,
mean. It could be beyond you.
doesn't
Like-
make me feel a thing. It's like almost like, you know, like ever have like a catchy song
No,
that's
no,
in your head.
All right. What about this? Like, it's like this. Like, you ever take like a pearl necklace and put it in front of like a farm pig? Like, what's a pig gonna look at a pearl necklace? Like, it's gonna be like, this means nothing to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, like pearls before swine. Yeah.
Actually, I remember when like I didn't understand. I remember like my dad would listen to like Dropkick Murphys and all these like 90s punk bands, and I would hear it, but it didn't register. I wasn't like, I'm like, okay, I hear it, but I don't feel it. And then one day we were going to Warped Tour, and I was like half tired, just like early up in the morning, traveling to Manhattan to Randall's Island, and in the car, and it's somewhere it hit me. Somewhere I'm like, I was like half asleep in the car, and the music was playing, trying to get to the show, and I'm like, oh shit. And then when I actually been to the show and I felt that and it was at the whole vibe of it, that's when I'm like, holy shit, I get it. Like, I feel it now. I understand what I was supposed to be feeling the whole time. You know, so I'm sure that can happen with other types of music for me. You know, like, I'd never liked classical when I was a kid. Now I fucking love I can sit there and cry, you know? There's a lot of things I didn't really have feelings for.
That's why it's important to be like open-minded about shit.
But it's like, you know, you listen to all these like love songs or Beatles songs. If you're a kid, you know, like,
No,
this is
but-
just people are making shit up.
But
They
you know what?
like
If you-
this person
if
a
you
little
listened-
bit.
but
They
if
have
you
a
listened-
crush.
but-
If you've been in love and then you hear these songs, you're like,
All right.
oh.
But if you listen to other love songs, you'll be like, well, all right, the Beatles were good, but they weren't all that. Like, people have made better love songs, to be honest, than the Beatles.
I'm just saying, like any type of love song, you don't really feel
You know
the
what?
love song as it should,
I
unless you've been in love or lost love.
I personally don't give a fuck about love songs written by guys. I don't give a shit about it. I like love songs written by chicks. Personally, that's just a personal preference. Like, when it comes to a dude writing about like love songs, I'm like, this is gay. I don't fucking care to listen to this. I don't give a shit. But if it's a girl writing about love, that's a perspective. That's a novel perspective that can't really fundamentally understand, but emotionally I can get it through their art, their craft, their expression. That's new to me. That's something new. Whereas when guys write love songs, to me it's just whining and bitching about shit that I'm very familiar with already. I don't need to fucking hear it over again from some other dude. I'm sorry. I'm very well in tune with my shit. I don't give a fuck enough to hear about it from some other guy who's weeping about it. You know, like,
I like when John Lennon's like wished that
I don't give a fuck about
John Lennon wished
He's a
that
bitch.
that one song that he wished wasn't a song, and he admitted that he wished it wasn't a song, is Run for Your Life. And the song is basically like, I caught you with another dude, I'm gonna find you and fuck you up. And
Yeah, but
that's basically the premise of the song. And
But
like,
that's tasteless. Like,
it
I'm
is,
like,
but
whatever. Okay.
I have to say, in irrational times, I'm like, I'm gonna kill this bitch. You know, like in irrational times, and that's what he was irrational at the moment, and he thought that way, and he was like, yikes! It's a song on a fucking album now, and it's gonna be there forever. and I really wish I didn't do that. And I'm like, I kind of vibe. I'm like, okay, I kind of like that actually, because this was him really raw. Probably after some shit happened that was like,
but that's you
and
gotta
just recorded it.
But you
like
gotta
a dumbass.
understand that's not a natural aspect. That's like a dysfunctional thought to have. Like, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
But if you think about, a lot of love songs are toxic as fuck. I need you. I'll fucking die without you. Kind of
That's
shit.
why
It's
I don't
no,
like that
you
shit.
can just go sleep on your couch and play PlayStation.
That's why I don't subscribe to it. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think it's very gay. I think it's for fucking faggots. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think any type of music is emotional and slightly whiny in some way.
No,
like
I'm
a song like Moonlight Sonata with
look,
no words. It's kind of, a manic, whiny kind of song.
First of all,
to me.
like men don't get an opportunity to truly express themselves unless in times of love and in times of war. So those are only 2 points, two specific moments in our whole lifetimes where we actually get to express ourselves fully. Music is a way of expressing love, right? So is that really what you want to express? These are the only
desperation.
Do you really just want to sit there and express desperation, feeling self-pity, fucking bitterness?
Yeah,
That's
I think a lot of people
whack,
feel
dude.
that desperation, but they don't want to express it in a normal sense.
Fuck
So
that,
they make a
dude.
song about it, so
No.
it makes it seem valid.
No, but it's not valid. It's stupid. I don't agree
What's so
with it.
valid? Because it is natural.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's your feeling, and all feelings
Yes, no.
are valid.
Music is
yeah.
expressing it, whether you think it's good or bad, expressing a true emotion that you have.
But if
Whether you
people-
think
but-
it's a right emotion
But if
to
a
have
guy
or not.
expressed that to me, I would literally slap him. I'd be like, "Get the fuck over it." There's no other way
That's
to deal
why
with
they
that.
wrote it in a song instead.
See, it's because like there's other tragedies that I think you should feel and mourn and mull over, like the loss of a family member, death. Death is one of the realest things. But when it comes to like the end of a relationship, it's like fuck that. The only thing you should ever feel is either relief or immense guilt, because it's either you fucked up or they fucked up. Period. There's no reason to feel anger, self-pity, or whatever. It's something you move on from. It's either you fucked up or they fucked up. Either way, it's over.
Well, whether you say you should not feel that or not, you do, and that's where music. That's why people make music. They're like,
But you know what? What if
it
a lot
doesn't mean you need to agree with the emotion you're
but what
feeling,
if
but putting it out
what
there.
if it's all rooted in a sense of false entitlement anyway? What if it's all?
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So then, what if
It's
that's
attachment,
And that's what.
completely.
And do you not believe that that kind of entitlement is what every person should fundamentally let go of from the get-go?
I think if it's real, you shouldn't deny that you had that feeling.
What if it's just
You can try to move past it.
But what
You
if?
can-
What if not? What if?
It's like if you feel hate towards somebody and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
but
it's
what-
fucking ignorant and wrong.
But what if fostering it is just hurting your surroundings, hurting others around you? What if it's more responsible to just let it fucking go and to be a fucking grown up and understand your feelings aren't that fucking important?
Because it's hard to do that. I feel like.
All right. So what if it's hard? It doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. Usually, the harder thing is the right thing to do.
Doesn't mean you can do it. You have to admit when you can't.
You should still try.
I think
You should
that's
still
where
try.
art. That's where art comes into play. That like there's been say if you really are attached to somebody or like someone, you don't even want them to fucking.
You know what,
so
this
you make
brings
a
up- this
song
brings up a
and
good
add an
point.
emotion to it
Do
and
you
make
think-
it kind of cryptic.
Do you think art can ever be bad for a person? Do you think there's such thing as like toxic art?
Yeah, it's probably it is. Yeah, yin yang and everything.
What do you think is some of the most toxic art?
Emo.
I was thinking more like Screwdriver.
Oh, yeah, okay. Screwdriver, that's like racist, but we can ignore them because like it's really easy to be like, oh, they're just racist.
No, but
I'm
then
not going to listen to that.
But then you tell me fucking emo music and
That's
some,
also why, and everyone knows who I'm talking about, why you shouldn't just wear a t-shirt of a band because you like the logo and you don't know 5 songs. Because sometimes those 5 songs might be horrible. It might be just the most racist shit you've ever heard in your life. So maybe, like, you want to pick up a Misfits shirt, maybe you should listen to the Misfits. Are you okay with killing babies and raping people? Okay, then go ahead, wear the shirt. But that's what they're singing about. And I like the skull. It's like, okay, but do you even know what's going on? Like, Gigi Allen. And, like, do you realize how much racist, fucking misogynist shit Gigi Allen said on a daily basis? But, he was just cool because he was punk. No, he was a cunt. And you're like, I don't know. You have to be if you're going to rep something, be fucking cultured about it. Like, I hate those memes where it's like, some like young girls wearing a t-shirt or some band, and it's like a 50-year-old guy. It's like, name 5 songs. It's like, yeah, Name fucking 5 songs. Why are you wearing this shit? That's like going around with like a fucking like, you know, like a communist symbol on my shirt. And I don't know shit about communism. Why am I wearing that? Do I understand what their fucking beliefs are? No. So don't, you know, don't rep something you don't know shit about, kind of.
I think fundamentally you're correct, but I also think you should never get like bent out of shape about that ever. It's like so inconsequential and stupid.
Listen, Kurt Cobain killed himself because you couldn't name 5 songs.
I don't give a fuck about Kurt Cobain though.
I'm just talking to the.
Oh, I still don't give a fuck about Kurt Cobain.
I'm just saying.
I didn't know that guy. He didn't know me. He probably would have been a dick to me if I ever met him in real life.
If you only liked It Smells Like Teen Spirit, and you're wearing a Nirvana shirt,
No,
you're
he was
kind of the reason he offed himself.
He was probably a fucking dick though, and he probably should have. Like a lot of people probably.
I don't think he was a dick.
I think he was a fucking dick.
I think he was. He mainly really liked punk rock, and he got sucked into this fucking MTV shit. And you go to all these shows, and all these fans, supposedly fans, would be like, "Play that fucking one song we heard on the radio again." And he's just like, "Oh Jesus fucking Christ, I'm gonna kill myself."
So you're saying something made him a dick, but yet at the end of the day he was still a dick. So he was still a dick.
No, he wasn't a dick.
I think he was a fucking dick.
I don't think he was a dick.
I don't know.
I didn't hang out with him.
I don't think he
so.
was a fucking philanthropist or anything. I think he was a fucking dick. I think he was like Bam Margera levels of dick. Except Bam Margera doesn't have the balls to kill himself like Kurt Cobain did. Bam Margera just rotted.
I don't know about any of this.
You know what? You know the story of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun?
Yeah.
It's a classic tale, and it's pervasive in human history and memory because everyone could relate to that. Moments where they got overconfident, flew too close to the sun.
Well, it's like when you think you're gonna eat the spiciest fucking noodle, and you're like, "I got this shit." You should never be that cocky about spicy. And then you're like, and now you're like hyperventilating, and
But you got back up, and you were ready to challenge it again, right?
I'm not cocky about spicy.
Oh no.
I go into it going, "Oh fuck," and I think that's the right way to be. If you think you might be overwhelmed, I feel if I went into a lot of those things, thinking I was gonna fucking just.
Let me ask you: do you think the average person will be able to handle those noodles?
There's only the one really spicy one that I think some people would be like, "Okay, I gotta fucking stop." And like a lot of times I did eat that. I had a couple drinks in me. I smoked some weed. I was really fucking hungry, and I just went past the spiciness to eat the fucking food. But that one bulldog one that was like spicy chicken with the fire coming out of its mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little bit like, ooh boy, okay, this is like the right before the threshold of what I can handle.
You know what? Like I never thought of putting in like half the bag of sauce before you. Like for me, it's like when I make it for myself, I just put the whole thing in. But for you, I was like, let me try half.
Lately, I've been putting like almost all of it. It's like 10% left on the sides that I don't just squeeze out that last bit. That's about it now. But I mostly just go and squeeze it, and like the last like little bits you would have to like try to get out.
Yeah, you're like, fuck that.
I just throw the rest out. I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then I'll add a little bit of like soy sauce or something to it to like even out the balance the flavor a little bit.
Wow.
It's still hot, but I don't know, it just adds a little bit more flavor, a little bit more savory to the hot.
Next time try adding Parmesan cheese. That'll help. I'm telling you.
I never thought of adding an Italian kind of style thing to a fucking Korean ramen noodle.
But you literally saw it, like carbonara ramen spicy thing. Just trust me, okay? Can you just listen to me?
Okay.
It's like every time I talk sense into you, you're always like, no, and then I get you to do it, and you're like, you were right, all right?
That's how I am. I'm stubborn until proven otherwise.
But can you at least trust me? Can you just trust my track record here? Like,
I can try it without trusting.
all right.
I try anything.
No, it's smart. You shouldn't trust a soul in New York City. That's for sure. I agree with that philosophy. What about you?
With what?
You shouldn't trust a soul in New York City.
I don't think so. I think if you have a good reader, you can read people well enough, you can trust people more. If you're like streetwise enough and can like gauge if somebody's like being shady or not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at like, okay, I halfway trust this person, and I know I set it up to where I know how to like get away from that.
I think
person
whether
if
or not
something does go down.
I think whether or not they're shady doesn't fucking matter to me. What really matters to me is what a person wants, because everyone wants different things. Now, if someone's like a social climber and they just want more friends and they're being shady about it, I couldn't give two fucks. But if someone wants money or drugs and they're being shady about it, that's more dangerous to me. So to me, the value lies in knowing what a person individually actually wants, especially out of life, in the immediate, short-term, long-term. It pays to know their desires, because their desires will dictate their behavior, whether consciously or subconsciously. So if you get a pinpoint on their desire, and it's best not to ask them directly. You could just like pay attention to their habits, their behavior, the things they say, the hints they drop, and eventually you could piece together, this is what you want. This is your desire. I could read you like a book now, you know, because this is ultimately what you fucking want. So everything you say will either consciously or subconsciously be in service of that. And that is how you read people. You got to know them through their desires. And everyone
like
wants
the dude
something.
the other day when I was playing in Manhattan, I went to the subway station where he was trying to sell Metro cards to people, like sell like some Metro card for money. And like I'm like, I go to set up. He's like, "Oh, this isn't the best place to play. You should play." I saw some guy make money over there, and like from the get go, I'm like, "You're just trying to get me out of your fucking spot. Wait, you're trying to hustle people to buy a fake Metro card."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, this spot's really good. This spot, I'll show you this spot. Hey, you got a cigarette?" I'm like, "I know what's going on here."
Yeah.
You know, just the guy trying to stand in front of the Metro card station because you found one on the fucking floor, and you're trying to sell it for this has like 500 rides on it,
and maybe
you're trying to get me away because I can distract people from your hustle.
And maybe that's what native New Yorkers are really good at, is inherently knowing the bottom line. First of all, we know that A, there is a bottom line. Altruism is bullshit, and B, that everyone is angling for something. Not that something that every time there is something it's bad. Sometimes that something could be very good. Some people are angling.
That's completely bullshit because
some people are angling for community. Some people are angling for a better world for their people, their families.
Yeah.
So that's all they care about. For some people, though, all they care about is making money at all costs, and those are evil people. You know, so it's like
it's not completely evil if you really need the fucking money.
Well, that's
a Metro card. You don't want me down there with my acoustic guitar distracting people from you yelling.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you two questions. All right, back to back. Ready? First question: if a child is poor and he gets caught stealing from a richer man, a wallet that has money in it, should he be put to death for his crime?
Not put to death.
All right, so second question. Suppose that same child, instead of robbing a man, right, he kills the man and takes the money. And yet that's what he had to do to survive. Should he be punished? Stakes are a little higher now,
Something
right?
should be done to prevent them from
But should that
killing
child
another person?
But should that child specifically be punished?
I don't know. I'm not good at judging what
Because
should happen to somebody.
Yeah, well, obviously, because there's not enough data.
Not God.
Yeah, there's not enough data too. Like, you know, is it the economic factors that push this child to do it, or is he a bad egg?
Beyond
like,
data, there's also knowing every situation that goes on between that kid's head and everything he feels, and that's something I can't actually put a number on or gauge. You know, like I'm not a fucking Bible person, because in the Bible they say, you know, God, who had considered everything,
dude, that's why
decided to make this and that.
That's
so
why
from the get-go, they're like, God, who had thought of every possible fucking scenario.
Listen, I know what you're about to say, but this is why I don't judge everything in terms of this is good, this is bad. What I do. What I do is, I mean, actually, you know what? No. I do determine. Don't get me wrong. I put that incorrectly. I do determine whether something good or bad. But what I first do isn't, first of all, like, I feel like a lot of people skip the what, and I feel like so many people skip the what and go straight to the is. Like, instead of saying, like, breaking down like what's making me feel a way, I'll go by appearances, saying, oh, you use this terminology, use these words, you're of this demographic. This is I'm gonna skip like that whole phase and just automatically assume that what is, and that you're a Republican fucking white boy douchebag and you're probably a bigot. But if I truly broke down the what, and, you know, it's like, what are you? What is Brendan? And if I took you beyond just like what I see and actually broke it down to what actually makes you you, then maybe I wouldn't feel like you're a bigot, right? So this is my problem. You know, I feel like too many people are focused on first the binary of like, you seem like a good person, or maybe they give their instincts too much power.
I also think you can't like fully judge somebody on what they say or do unless you've hung out with them and you actually know what they mean by what they say.
So this is why, as a fail-safe,
that's why cancel culture is bullshit.
is
Because
why.
like,
This is why, as a failsafe, like I
you
don't.
should have to hang out with
All
somebody
right,
before
listen.
you judge them.
So this is why, as a failsafe, I don't go first with whether or not they're good or bad, sketchy or not sketchy. My first instinct is to determine what a person wants. Right? A person will want something, and they could want something really good, and they'll act really sketchy about it. That doesn't make them bad. That just means they act really sketchy about wanting something that's ultimately good. Or someone could want something really bad and act really not sketchy about it, and they could deceive you that way because they seem like cool, non-sketchy people, but ultimately they want something really bad. So it's best to determine people's desires before judging their good or badness, because then you could take their desires in the context of what you know about them and judge for yourself, this person is bad. Because if this person just wants money, and then knowing their context where they come from money, you're bad. But if this person just wants money and they come from a historic context of not having any money, then you're not so bad. You know, you're understandable. So that's why, like, you can't just determine by vibes and energy. It's like, oh, you're giving off a bad vibe.
I always hated the I feel a bad vibe. I'm like, yeah, but you also were diagnosed with schizophrenic, fucking bipolar. So maybe you should consider that before you start like pulling out crystals and checking vibes, because maybe you're sometimes when I got a bad vibe from that person, you sure it's not paranoid delusions?
No. So but you know what's always useful is desire. You know, some people have irrational desires, some people have very sensible desires, understandable desires, but they have it. Either way, whatever it is. So it's once you figure that out, then you could work from there. That's a new tip for you. Next time you deal with a new person, figure out what they want. They always want something. Everybody wants something.
I know.
This is why you notice, like,
easy going about
you
it.
notice when I, like, every time I talk to you, this is how I remain like an open book to you, regardless of how harsh I may sound or how mean I may get. At least you'll always know what I want because I'm always honest and upfront about that.
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather deal with an asshole honest person than somebody who pretends to be kind and nice and super positive.
Yeah,
that's
I hate
dishonest.
that shit. Because it's
and has
inauthentic.
ulterior motives about everything. It's so ulterior that they don't even know that they have them.
Whereas
that they don't know they're manipulating, trying to manipulate.
If you
other
truly
people.
believed in like what you wanted, then like it doesn't fucking matter how you act, as long as you know it's all in service to what you actually want. And if what you want means you don't have to deceive people and just speak your honest thoughts, then you're gonna fucking do that. Like, you know.
I got a tinkle.
All right, I'll keep talking.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Go tinkle. No, it's all good. We're well past an hour. I'm trying to shoot for 2 hours for once. I mean, this is standard, but like it's all good. I think you earn a well-deserved pee break. Could you do me a favor though? Yeah. When you go into the kitchen, can you go into the freezer and get some ice from the ice tray, please? And thank you. That's all I want. You know, some good old-fashioned ice cubes. Brendan's pissing right now. I bet he's got a very weak stream, so we won't be able to hear it on the mic. Currently, I'm rolling a J. Those of you who are viewing the stream can see that, but those of you who are listening it to the first time for the first time through audio only, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm actually really good at this. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're wondering, can Chris Komodo roll good joints? Well, I'm here to snuff that question right now and tell you, I do, baby. I roll some phenomenal fucking joints. And I'm not just talking myself up. I know how that sounds. It sounds really conceited, but I swear, like, I've had years for people to prove me wrong, for people to say like, yo, that Chris Komodo talking shit, he don't know how to roll nothing, can't roll no blunts or joints, and I swear I can prove them wrong, and they know it. Any naysayers, they could say a lot of things about me, but what they cannot say is that I cannot roll a banging ass joint or a banging ass blunt. Right, Brendan? Can I roll a good blunt and a joint? He said, yeah, I'm down. No. Am I good at it? Am I good at it? Am I good at rolling joints or blunts?
I think you're good at rolling joints. You're pretty quick. I don't even notice you doing them.
All right, he says I'm so good at it. I'm so fast. He can't even see me doing it. I'm like so swift, like a fucking ninja. It's pretty epic. Yeah, so the podcast is fun. You're right, it is pretty punk rock. I like it.
About the punk rock.
Yeah, it's got a punk vibe to it for sure.
Oh no, I think podcasting is doing anything DIY is a form of, it's kind of punk rock to me. You don't have to answer to anyone else.
You know what it is? It's cyberpunk.
I don't, whatever.
Punk. It's nonconformity. Well, I mean, that is the thing about podcasting, right? Unlike music or like other forms of media, like television or something, it's like really impossible to keep it censored. You know, it's impossible to like keep it regulated with the FCC or some such, right?
Well, think about it, like Iggy Pop saw a Doors concert, and that's when he started playing punk rock and started like playing like the Stooges. Oh shit, I'm so fucking sorry.
Yeah, right on my finger, dude. So what were you saying about Iggy Pop?
He saw a Doors show, and then he started the Stooges. He also said the Doors sucked. Live. He's like, shit, I could do that. I could suck.
Here, take a sip. Take a sip.
I'm good on that.
All right.
Maybe later.
Damn, you really are a little bitch.
A little bit.
You asked a really good question that I never thought about until you asked it. But you asked, well, it's not even like you asked a question. You just made a statement. You were like, I don't know how I survived this long. And it made me think of that too. It's like, I don't know how you survived this long too. And I came up with an answer once I pondered the question.
What's your answer?
Your family. You're
Yeah.
alive this long because of your family.
Yeah, I guess so. A lot of it, yeah.
And you know what? Like, that fact alone has definitely been at odds with me, like, you know, with people. I'm sure other people in your life, like, where it's like you make plans with someone and then you're like, oh, I can't do that. I got to do this with my family, and you'd have to go do it. And deep down, like, everyone would have to let it slide because we know your family isn't just someone, it's also an integral part of your survival, and you're also an integral part of their survival because your family just functions like that, like an ecosystem.
Yeah, I also love them, and I, don't want to, as I get older, I don't know what's gonna happen, in the years,
Well, what has to happen is you kids have to get as strong as you can so that you could eventually have your own kids, start your own families, and keep the family line going. That's the only way to keep all the Mullins that came before you alive.
I don't think anyone in the family has any desire to have children or kids. I think a lot of us think it's almost narcissistic, because you think about like the previous generations, it would just like seem like that's what you do. You're almost 18, have a baby, move out. It's like, and we're like, at this point, I think we're smart enough to be like, dude, there's fucking how many billions of fucking people? Do we need more fucking people right now? Maybe we should work on our own shit and get our own shit together, break like generation barriers, certain things. Like, also, parents not that long ago, it was just like, you gotta beat your kid, and now we're like, what the fuck were we doing this whole time? Holy shit. Like, even like parents now are just like, I couldn't imagine like hitting a child, kind of thing, where that was a normalized thing.
No, we can't think of it that way. We can't put limits on
There's a lot of rules that don't apply anymore.
No,
There's a lot of things that don't apply between the parents and kids.
We can't think limits on our expansion. That's stupid. That's fucking setting us up to
If you
fail.
really think about it, it seemed like people matured more back then. I don't think that's the case. I think they just decided to pretend like they matured more as they got older, and they thought, oh, I'm fucking 18 now, I'm an adult, I can take care of children. No. And that's why I think also everyone's like making mistakes.
Dude, I don't give a fuck what you say, right? I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you believe in like whatever ideology, whether it's communism, capitalism. I don't give a fuck what kind of bias you have, whether you're racist or not racist or anti-racist. I couldn't give two shits about that. But one thing, no matter what you fucking believe in, I know that nobody can ever convince me that humanity is not supposed to procreate. We have to procreate.
Not recklessly, not just like, you know.
Yeah, but you as a human do not get to decide what is reckless and what is responsible procreation. It doesn't work that way. That's why we have such a hard time fucking regulating it, because nobody has a right, fundamental, natural right to do it. So that is just something you're gonna have to accept. It's not something. It's not something we fix. It's not something we go against. It's something that we just accept and work around or work through. But it's not something that you have to sit there and tell me is wrong. That is retarded.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying at this point, what am I going to do? What are you going to do with a fucking kid? You know?
You raise it. You teach it. You make it a functioning and better part of society. You make it something that helps
What
humanity.
if you don't think society is a good place to raise a kid? Like, it's like, say if you lived in a shitty fucking neighborhood and you couldn't get out of that neighborhood, you'd be like, okay, I shouldn't have a kid right now because I'm going to bring them into this fucking world.
Yeah, and you know why that's a stupid way of thinking? Because no matter how the world is, it's never going to be good enough for your fucking kid. So stop ever thinking the world has to be a specific way just for your seed to no. Your seed is supposed to adapt to whatever environment befalls it. That is what makes a species that survives. We're not supposed to.
No, I don't think if a system is flawed, I don't think that
the system may be flawed, but it'll never be perfect.
It'll never be perfect. I don't think a person should have to adapt. I think a natural human being should be able to be like, this is fucked up. Let's dismantle it and change it.
Are you saying we got to this point without adapting?
We adapted the wrong way.
Oh, well, that I can't argue against. I could only argue.
I think we were forced into certain types of adaptations within our
I
society.
agree. No, I agree with that. That
forced
is
people
the,
into certain,
100%.
especially we still like not that far away from, you know, like monarchs and slavery.
Yeah.
We're very close
you're
to
right.
that. That happened recently.
No, I totally agree that you can't argue that we didn't have to, but you could definitely argue we adapted the wrong way, like for sure, 100%.
Yeah, we adapted because we stole these people from that place.
Yeah.
And had them do the work, and then once we couldn't do that anymore, now we're like, what do we do?
No,
let's pay people shit to do the same work we had the slaves doing.
Yep. No,
and
I
make
agree
it
with that.
seem like they have more, you know, like it didn't develop in a normal, healthy, functional, like everyone's together on this way, everyone agrees, you know. I'm not saying everyone's always gonna agree, but it's like, I don't know, we kind of fucked a lot of people over to get, so it was like there was a couple of psychopaths that got a head on in the game because they were so fucking psycho that everyone else was like, dude, what the fuck, we're just trying to farm, and they're like, you give me 40% of your fucking crops or they're gonna fucking kill you, and we're just like, okay, dude, whatever. So we kind of let the world be run by psychopaths for quite some time.
I don't want to start this out by like stating facts, but I want to like put an idea out there. Let's just play with this idea, right? So my idea is, it's going to follow up with a question. So the idea is, what if the problem isn't that we have too many people? What if the problem is we didn't have good leaders? I'll follow that up with a question. What do you think makes good leaders?
I think somebody, okay, if you think about, like, I guess it's not the best analogy, but, like, the first president of the United States didn't go, I want to be the president. There was no such thing yet. Eventually, like, we need some type of leadership, and everyone was like, no. See where that got us back in England? Leadership? No good. And then they found this fucking dude, like, he seems like a stand-up fucking dude. He helped us in this. He helped us. You're our leader now. No, I'm good. No, you're the leader. It's like, fuck it. Okay, you know what? I guess so. Okay, what can I do to help? That's a real leader, not somebody who's trying their ass off, paying money to get themselves into a position.
So
if
let's
you're
assume,
trying too hard to lead people,
listen. Let's assume
you're a psycho.
Let's assume you already gave me enough. Let's assume I agree with your example. So let's break that example down. I'm not saying that. I'm not. Where are you going? All right. So I'm not speaking for historical accuracy here, right? Let's assume that I agree with you, right? And let's break down that example. George Washington, who is this stalwart leader who did not want to lead and yet had leadership thrust upon him because he showed naturally the qualities of what these people wanted to follow, which was someone who was steadfast, honest, capable, competent, and true to their beliefs.
Yeah,
and
he just
principles that
wanted
they
to
all agree
help.
with.
He cared about his fellow man, and he didn't.
We don't even
at
know
least from what I know.
We don't. Yeah, exactly. But that's a good
I don't
example
know
because
shit,
we
yeah.
know we know plenty of stories like that. So that's a classic archetype of leader, right?
Even if it wasn't real, it's a classic archetype. Yes.
So that's what you believe in, right? You believe that a good leader should be stalwart, should be bold, should also be wary of responsibility because they understand the gravity of it, the weight of it. They should understand that it's not a position of to be coveted. It's a position to just be burdened with, right?
Yes.
That is true leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can agree on that. So
even the idea of campaigning.
No.
It's like
forget
you're
that.
trying too hard, man.
That's going detracted. So my idea was that we don't have enough leaders. We don't have enough people like that. So how do we get more people like that? How do we get more people who are stalwart, who are bold, at the same time wary of responsibility because they understand the responsibility of it? How do we do that? How do we foster that? How do we facilitate that?
We stop making it this desirable fucking thing to be the president or something. It's back in the day, like, yes, kids, what do you want to be? I want to be an astronaut. I want to be the president of the United States. Do you think that kid's saying it when they're fucking 6 years old because they think that I'm going to help everyone? No, they're thinking, I want to be like, I am fucking the president. It's like this glorified kind of fucking thing rather than like, you're a fucking servant, Like, even the idea of being a police in some way, I think most people go with it like, oh, I have authority over others rather than I'm serving others. It's that idea. If you think you're going to have authority over...
what? I'm understanding. You know what I'm coming to realize, especially in our generation? This is a very acute, like
someone like fucking Reagan.
This is a very acute observation of, like, the modern tastes for, like, cultural exports and, like, productions. But I'm noticing that, like, a lot of self-aware people... A lot of self-aware people, when it comes into their tastes of what they love in stories, like grand epic stories, like movies and video games, anime, I feel like what we've all consensually like agreed on as a generation, especially us dudes, like, as a consensus, we're all very drawn to stories where, like, for some reason the main character just ends up dying at the end. There's no, like, happy ending for him where he rides off into the sunset. Instead, what really matters was that his contribution meant enough. Whether it's like the new Blade Runner movie, Red Dead Redemption 2, fucking what else? Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, but I also think that also like that story arc, it puts in. They will, because now they're dead. They can't do anything else. They can't fuck up anymore. So they did the good thing and went, I did the right thing. And it's like, and that's where they'll be remembered. Rather than if they keep going, you don't know what's going to happen to them.
But that's the truth. Like, honestly, like, legends aren't remembered by how they lived as much as how they died.
But, it's easy to die for someone. It's a lot harder to live for someone. You can die in a split second, make that decision real quick, and it's over.
But what you're forgetting,
to live every day.
Yeah. You say it's
a lot more work.
You say it's very easy to die, but right, the harder you live for someone, the harder it is to face the fact that no matter what, you're still going to die. So why not, at the end of the day, you're still going to die, make that death worth it too? As much as you lived, make that death go out with a bang.
Yeah, but it's very easy. I could be a piece of shit.
No.
I see some kid in front of a car and I jump in front of it and get run over. And
you didn't listen to me though.
For that.
Like, what I'm saying is, like, yeah, it's very easy to just subscribe to, like, dying as for whatever fast and easy cause. But the harder you live for someone, the harder it is going to be face that ultimate death anyway.
Well, I guess that would be afraid of, like, not being able to do the thing for them anymore.
No, because the longer you live in precious paradise, the more you're going to have to value and not want to lose. That's the point. It's no matter what, it's tragic.
Well, there's no easier to die.
There's no way to cut it. It's always tragic no matter what.
When there's nothing to lose, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, Arthur Morgan really... He was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
You really think he made a heroic sacrifice? Or at the last minute, he was like, let me play it off like I was a hero, even though I was a piece of shit the whole life.
Shut the fuck up and listen. For most of us...
Fuck you.
What I'm trying to say, though, because what you said was a point. What I'm trying to say is that for all of us, for most of us, like, the way you pointed that out was as if that, like, that's not most of our fates anyway. Like, Arthur Morgan's story is a lot more relatable to most of us than the guy who fucking, like, has all the hope and it all works out for him, who has everything to lose. No, most of us have nothing left to lose. Look at you. Look at me, dude. Like, dude, we're barely, as much as we have things.
Well, it's kind of freeing. It's a freeing feeling.
Yeah, it's liberating. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's closer to the truth that nothing
That's
fucking
not the
matters.
case always for me. I don't feel like I have nothing left to lose. And mostly it's people like I wouldn't want to leave behind.
Dude. All right. First of all, yeah, you have things that you care about, which is beautiful. That's that's personal. But look at the material reality of our situations. We now live in a world where corporations literally dictate what we get to say to each other online on an open resource that should be free and like completely liberated. We're not allowed to even say the word like whatever. We're not even allowed to say bitch. Some people have gotten like 30-day bans for saying the word bitch, and I'm like, fuck, dude, that's pretty intense.
Well, at the end of the day, I didn't create social media.
On top of that, how about this?
I don't need it for my survival. So if I get banned or say something, I could always be a.
What about the fact that you're stuck paying like fucking hundreds of dollars, like just to fucking be able to live because of something that's completely out of your control?
The thing about that is, I'm not.
Who decided that? Was it like actual consensus of humanity? No, it was a company. It was a corporation.
Yeah, it was a company. Oh, well, the guy who discovered and invented insulin was like, I can save the world, and he made it free. But then once he died, somebody got a patent on it and started being like profit.
What about this fucking?
They need it to live. They have to buy it.
What about
it's a market that can't fail.
What about this inflationary housing market where nobody our age could ever hope to really buy a house in their lifetime outright?
Well, because you have people that can buy those homes and rent them to us, and we're pretty much paying their fucking mortgage plus.
All I'm saying is like, look, there's a
You're
lot.
paying this dude's mortgage.
Look, dude.
He didn't fucking put money. He got a loan.
All I'm saying is
we're paying off other people's fucking borrowing money.
Great, yeah. Which is adding to my point. All I'm saying is that we live in a good time. There's a lot to be happy about, but at the same time, we're living in a fucking living hell.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's very dystopian, but at the same time, if you look at like a monarch or a king from a couple hundred years ago, they have less than some homeless people have now. They didn't get there was a fucking famine. Fuck you. You're not eating right that week. You had to shit in a hole and somebody had to take it out. Like they didn't have fucking Wi-Fi. You couldn't just go home and watch fucking Netflix, order food, and have somebody in a fucking magical electric vehicle fly to their fucking house and drop them off food. That's was like a recipe for another fucking country. There's certain things we have still that is way more than any rich
but you know what they never had to go through?
Ago.
You know what they never had to go through?
Homeless people have Facebook pages and they
never had
YouTube.
to go through? What they didn't have to go through? They see those people went through that shit because that was the reality of their situation. The reality was they didn't have the technology that we have available to us, right? But the reality of our situation is we have to watch people starve in the street, knowing full well we could be living in a utopia right now. That is a different kind of hell.
Okay. Because when everyone's
think about that.
Yeah,
that is a presence of something beyond.
You can walk past
evil.
A golden Trump Tower. And
that is evil.
It's made out of fucking gold-plated fucking. It's probably not real gold.
Dude, that is. And then
you see people starving to death on the street right next to it.
That is a manifestation of evil. That the fact that we have every capability available to us to make the perfect place, and yet we're still seeing the most fucked up examples of oppression and violence, and just literally letting people starve and freeze on the street. That is our reality.
If you're walking around in your fucking suit and your suitcase, and you're working on fucking Wall Street, and you pass these people every day, you give them the money? Okay, maybe if somebody else does, nobody else is.
No, but the question is why are so many people making the wrong decisions? Something's missing. We can't blame it on just the white people or the men or something.
Well, it's not the government completely.
No, there's something
we are the government.
There's something deeply like missing within like this whole fucking genome sequence.
When you put in we're basically in a really big, really fucking elaborate, almost like Squid Game. It really is like that, but a really fucking extensive and elaborate one where it's like a game of musical chairs. So, like, you're winning. This guy isn't. Do I help him or do I just keep going? And I'm in New York City. There's a couple thousand people still passing this guy. Am I going to be the one to give him money? No, fuck it. I'm too busy. The train's coming in like 5 minutes. I got to go. And that's what it is. You're stuck in this game. You're playing the game, and you're like, I got like 2 minutes, buddy. Sorry. Maybe next time. And that's New York. You can ignore a lot of shit because you're so fucking busy.
Yeah.
And you got to support yourself, even if you have way more than the next guy. And also, if you're like me, if you're a working class type of person, like, Yeah, you get paid.
But you know what?
You get paid, and you're
But you know what? If you think
you're
about it-
closer to these people, so you give them money, and then halfway through the week, all of a sudden you're like, I'm probably not gonna be able to afford to like eat out when I go to work tomorrow because I just gave out. Okay, how many cigarettes I have left? Okay, fuck. And then you start walking past that guy.
But if you think
now
about
you're not
it-
giving them the money
but if
anymore
you
because
think
now
about it,
you're at a
compared to,
deficit.
like, imagine being like a fucking gazelle or a deer, or whatever, in the wilderness, and like, you know, you're hanging out with others of your own kind, and suddenly one gets like eaten by a lion or some shit. Are you gonna stick around and be like, oh no, that's yeah?
No, that's really just. It's not even just human nature. That's
animal nature, yeah.
at least mammals.
At least we think about it. That's the fucked up part. The fact is that we feel guilt. The fact is that we
That's
feel
also
anything
why
about
I hate watching. I used to love watching nature documentary, like the natural life. And as like I got older, I started getting more existential crisis problems in my head. So I'll be watching, and I'm like,
this is fucked up.
everything is just everything killing and harming one another to get.
Remember
by.
that Tool song?
And that's not just. I thought it was just human. You know, humans are evil. Okay, whatever. I can deal with that. Maybe we can make the world better one day.
No.
But when I see like every creature on the fucking planet, it's like, I gotta kill that motherfucker to live. And that's life. Life is fucking. The universe is fucking hostile.
Yep.
Nature is hostile and cold.
So
it doesn't
it-
give a
so
shit.
is it fucked-
Like,
is
just
it-
like they say, like
so-
what's
so
chaos
is
for the
it-
fucking lion
so is it that fucked
like
up?
what's chaos for the hyena is like this fucking normal fucking. I'm gonna feed my cubs today for the lion.
So is it that fucked up that that I have a little bit of hostility in me? Like,
No,
I think I'm
no,
just more in touch
But
with
it's like, you know, you can watch a nature show and they try to make it like protagonist and antagonist now. So
Yeah.
the protagonist, you started off this show in a fucking lion, you know, as a lion cub. Oh my God. There's only one impala. Are they gonna catch it? They haven't eaten for 3 weeks. Oh, the mother caught the impala. Oh, they're gonna eat tonight. And it's like, aw. And then you watch. If you start off that same documentary as a fucking impala, you'd be like, oh my fucking God, this is horrible. It's not fucking either. It's one thing to the other. And it's kind of cold, though. It's kind of depressing to me, thinking that, like, you know, when I see, like, animals that mate, the worst things is the animals, like the males that beat the fucking
but
piss out of the other one.
listen.
And then you have to get your shit kicked out of you.
But listen,
and you're
yeah,
2
yeah,
feet
yeah.
away from where they're fucking.
Okay, listen. Now what's happening
Because this
now,
dude
yeah,
fucked
yeah,
you
I know,
up.
Listen, you're getting emotional about it because right now what we're doing is we're shrinking our perception to see the finer details of the nature of life. Now what I want you to do is I want you to expand. So right now we're looking at the nature of animals and the nature of us and how we treat each other vaguely like animals. Now expand further into how, like, our sun exploding, which is going to happen, is going to treat our planet. Same thing. It's going to consume our planet as all natural stars do at the end of their life, and eventually our own planet will cease to exist. And there's probably that what I'm telling you is that
That's bad for us, but it's probably good for billions of other organisms.
listen, all I'm saying is that it's all a part of one larger, beautiful, existential, fucked up cycle that is very chaotic, and that is the nature of the universe. It's chaos, pure chaos, which is okay. And the only way to conquer it is to first embrace it.
But there still is love.
Yes, that's why we have to embrace it, because without that chaos, love would never exist. Without that chaos, they would not have the ability to evolve.
Can you love through the instinctual demands of survival? And that's really what it comes down
Yes,
to.
yes.
Can
And it's
you-
and you know what?
Can
That-
you break free of that animal instinct?
and
go-
that's why I value strength, because it doesn't take like fear or being in touch with your emotion. Well, it does. It involves everything, but you need strength, and you can't just like.
I was
deny
about
that.
to say that that's a human thing, that we can transcend that animal instinct, but I've seen dogs and cats risk their well-being and lives to save others many times. So maybe that's just an inherent thing in evolution. Eventually, beings evolve to a point where they become more cognizant and have more conscious thoughts rather than they're just their instincts pestering them.
Well,
all
what
the
does
time.
evolution mean to you?
The thing, I'm really hungry, but this one's hungrier.
What does evolution?
And I'm going to let them eat instead
What does
of me
evolution
right
really
now.
mean to you? Does it mean
I think empathy is a big. Most of the animals that are the top, which we are the top of the food chain supposedly, are empathetic. Empathy, it seems to drive evolution, and it seems detrimental at first. It seems like it's a thing that, oh, if you care more about that poor fucking thing rather than yourself, you're gonna die.
No,
you
I
need
think-
to be selfish
I think that's too
to
limiting.
live.
I don't think evolution is about empathy. I think evolution is about possibility.
But every type of every main predator, cat, wolf, humans are empathetic creatures that thrive on being social.
No, because
we are social animals.
No, because
those are the ones who evolved to these
No, you're
points.
still shrinking it too small. Like, I still think on a broader
I'm
scale.
gonna grab my other vape because this one died on me.
All right. I still think on a broader scale, evolution does not mean empathy. I think empathy is a very specific element of evolution. But I think on a broad spectrum, evolution is more so about possibility than anything else. It's about what is possible. It's about possibilities, probabilities. It's about cause and effect. It's not about like moralistic judgments of what should be or what ought to be or what oughtn't to be, shouldn't be. I think it's really just mostly, it's really most about what is possible and what just happened to have happened and without others. That's why I believe in a multiverse. I think when it comes to like a multiverse, like the actual nature of different dimensions in multiple universes is every decision you make or don't make probably does splinter off into an alternate universe in an alternate dimension that just happens.
Yeah, we don't know how reality works. We'll never know.
No, I mean, there's already a lot of evidence pointing to that. We're slowly building up to this realization of like this multiverse theory. You know, we're like, this is it's not even like at first it started as a theory. Now it's just becoming more evident.
Do you think that's where deja vu comes from?
Maybe
it's like two multiverses that are so close that it feels like a memory because
experiencing at the same time.
There was like a minuscule difference, like that dust particle went this way instead, and it almost made no impact. And you're remembering this other simultaneous reality at the same time it's happening. That's why it feels so weird. Like I'm remembering this, but I'm remembering it as if it was now. That's what deja vu feels like to me. I'm remembering something, but it only just happened right this second.
You know what? That's actually pretty crazy, and that might be true because that's a very it's a very unexplained story. Some people call it a mental glitch, like the Matrix tried to play it off as like, oh, you know, it's like that's what happens when there's.
But it doesn't happen afterwards. It happens at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
And that's what real deja vu
is.
Like, I'll be sitting here looking at that bottle, with that cigarette like this, with this like that, with that like this, and go, I've been here before, but I was here before at this very moment it's happening right now. Not in the past in a dream, but this is happening at the same time in another very, very adjacent timeline that's so close to this one that it feels like they're happening at the same time, but there was a minuscule difference.
Yeah.
And then conscious and collective memory of consciousness, which would be timeless, beyond time and space, would be like, it would just make that kind of feeling maybe. And maybe there's another version of myself that's also like sitting there parallel going, this is happening at the same time it's happening.
No, I think
there was one difference.
I think that's a pretty sensible theory, to be honest. I like it.
It's hard to comprehend though. Even talking about it, I'm still like, I don't comprehend what I just even fucking said, you know?
No, it could be like conscious, subconscious bleed over, you know, from like, because like temporal.
They're so close.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it is. Like
reality's weird in itself, and from what we know scientifically. So,
and you know what? I also believe that the more conscious we are of alternate universes, the more stronger the effects get. The more closer we get to experiencing those universes. You know,
like when you eat shrooms or something.
Yeah, it's not even like we have to specifically invent a machine that allows us to cross. I think the more we realize it or not, because think about it, there's no end to those developments. Like first of all, right? I don't mean to break the universe here, but once you imagine that, right? Once you imagine like alternate decisions, you could easily start to imagine alternate decisions where you became like a physicist, right? And started studying, and maybe you developed a machine at some alternate, you know, reality where you actually were able to create a device that could allow you to transport. So you might be able to even see yourself. And, you know, like if you start thinking about it too hard and actually manifest it too hard, that might actually happen, you know?
Well, that's what I liked about Doctor Who, because there's been Doctor Who episodes where they bring somebody back to like 1,000 years in the past. And like, you know, one character was like, well, what if I like step on a butterfly and it changes the whole history? And he's like, what makes that different than any other day?
Yeah, exactly. You can be breathing, like just snap a finger.
It's already happening, bitch. Like,
yeah.
Like don't step on any butterflies then? Yeah. Like it's so simple, you know? But it's like pretty much like, what if I do this and alters the course of reality?
You're already doing it, yeah.
You're already doing that every single second of every day. Like, chill out.
So yeah, maybe that's already it. Because think about it, the more cognizant of it that you could start imagining darker and fucking things, where someone could develop a device that just collapses all the universes and all the
Well, that
realities.
means we have like, you know, universes that like this is like really fucked up.
But then you could think of
like
a universe that could like.
sick.
But then
the
you could
worst
think of,
things happen.
Then you could think of a universe that just takes over that universe
well,
before
what would
it could even happen.
you know? I always hated like living my best life. I'm like, how do you know that? So this is your best life. That's the pinnacle of what your imagination can think of what your best life would be.
Yeah.
I got a decent job and I have health insurance. That's your best. No, the best life would be beyond your comprehension. You'd be in complete orgasmic bliss nonstop. That's your best life, right?
The question is, do you believe in that? Where like for every choice or for every movement you make, there's like a number of alternate universes being made.
Oh yeah, I can do that right now.
Yeah.
I could, like, the funny thing is like about reality, it's like playing an online RPG. It's like, or like an RPG game. Like, I'm gonna maintain composure in certain situations because I want it to go a certain way. But if I wanted to, I could just like grab this, hit you on the fucking head, and like murder you in your house, and it would just change the course of history right from here on out.
For sure.
Or I could not, which I'm not going to. But like we always have that choice to do something drastic and crazy.
And we did.
Like ever been standing there next to somebody that you like and they're cool, and you just thought, what if I just like stop talking in this conversation and just grab like a blunt object out of my bag and just. And I could just fucking completely fuck my whole life up right now.
Yeah.
It's like that instinct of when you're on top of something like on a building and you're scared, but like there's some little bit in you that's like, what if you jumped? What if you just jumped right now?
And you know what? That's why.
And you have that power, but are you gonna use it? You
Honestly, that's
people that think if they had the power to do anything, they would. No, you wouldn't.
Yo, but listen to this, right? Because like that, all that stuff is dictated by like what you feel and believe and know you're capable of, right? So like you've never.
Well, religion really puts a damper on that
studied
possibility.
the blade. You've never studied the blade before, right?
No.
So
other than Star Wars and playing with toy lightsabers.
So like if you were in a group of friends, right? Without that experience, without that like line of like experiential time passing for your existence, and then let's say like me and you were hanging out with a group of friends and some guy stepped up and he was like this gangster guy with a katana, right? And then he laid a sword in front of the group. Would you instinctually take it to protect?
It's hard for me to not pick.
Knowing I was in the group, would you take it?
And we had to fight to the death?
Yeah. For all of us to be saved. Would you step up to do it?
All of us be saved.
Yeah. That guy had to die. Would you take up that sword?
Yeah, I guess so.
Knowing I was in the group, really?
Or like, is everyone gonna die if I don't?
No, I mean anyone else is free to do it. But would you really step up knowing that you're free to, like, everyone else is also equally able to do it? Like, it has the ability to just, you don't say, I'll do it. I'll fight this guy. Like, would you volunteer readily first?
Who's the guy I'm fighting?
Some, like, gangster dude with a sword.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know, because maybe he killed people before and you never did?
Is everyone else as little experienced as I am?
Everyone is as they are, as you know them.
Like people I know?
Yeah, like I was there too.
I would probably, if you've been training for a while, I would
there you go.
You do it.
See, this is why this is the answer I was waiting for. I'll be like, yo, I would have to step up because I'm like, that's my role here. I did it. I fucking yeah, exactly. So I would have to do it. I would have.
That's just pure fucking logic, though.
Exactly. So that's what you almost forgot because you were like thinking of all this shit, and I was like, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm saying like, really, what has to happen here is you would say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna let him do it because he did it. So that's my point.
Yeah, I don't.
Is there's ways to control your own destiny, not control it completely, but influence it by doing what it takes to become that role. You know. If it's the role...
Yeah, but if you think about it in terms of that, like alternate realities, if you don't do it, another alternate is going to do it.
I would have to do it.
But if you don't do it, another alternate version of you did do it.
Yeah.
So you're
either way,
playing out one of the 50,000 billion impossible to count.
So think about how much power it has, right? not to just imagine something, but to actually spend, like, invest like a day, a month, a year, or 2 years, 3 years into practicing sword. What does that do? Suddenly it makes that psychic possibility power stronger, because it's like, it's not just backed up by possibility, this is backed up by history of what I already did, you know. So that's already more that's influencing the possibility. So it all connects to what you do. Ultimately what you do matters most.
Yeah,
pretty crazy shit.
I guess
though.
so.
That's a pretty trippy mind fuck we just went down. Like, this is some shit if I tried to talk about on ketamine, I would just like completely fall apart like Tootsie Rolls.
I already am.
Yeah, but at least we got to deep dive into, like, you know, existential thinking with like multiverses and how.
Yeah, I already do this myself. Like, that's why I can't sleep sometimes. So it doesn't help.
So imagine what it's like for me, where it's like, dude, like, I studied the blade, I did the DJ thing, I shot guns.
I don't think that changes your existential crises when you're trying to go to sleep at night. I think everyone at the same time is like, does anything fucking matter?
But it affects the flavor of your storyline, because everyone has their line, and that line could go into all different shapes. It could be a smooth, wavy line, or it could be filled with sharp spikes, or it could be filled with smooth, a combination. Either way, everyone's got their own unique signature with their lifelines. I like mine to be as like intense and crazy as possible. At least just interesting to look at, you know? Like, if my life was just this data stream that you had to experience.
I think there's
like,
no such thing as living your best life.
No,
because you don't know what the best would be.
No, but that's why it's an art. Is there such thing as the best art? No, it's making your life into an art. Like, it's a painting, you know? It's something that it's a poem that you write. It's a book that you write. It's a painting that you paint. Your life is your own art. It's your ultimate art, really.
That also means you're never playing the best version of your song or the best
exactly
version of your poem.
All you could do is hope to play the truest version of your song, or the truest version of your poem, or paint the truest version of your painting, whatever is truest to you at the moment.
There's no such thing as the best.
Nope, just the truest. To you,
not least. Even that.
Just to you, it's an individual thing, right?
Well, that would be subjective if we're thinking in terms of multiple realities.
Yeah, that's why you can't just try to logicize. See, I adhere to logic strictly when it comes to our own reality, but when it comes to like breaking outside of that and like coming to terms with like different possibilities, like what hasn't happened yet, that's when I start to throw logic aside, because you have to have that in order to take sensible risk. You have to understand logic to understand like probability, and you have to be able to throw it aside to be able to take necessary risk to progress, because you can't progress without taking risks. And risks kind of, in a way, throws logic out the window a lot of the times. Sometimes you have to take illogical risks to be able to move forward. And that's also a part of life. Would you agree?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, as long as I don't really mind my life at the moment, I think it's good. I think that anything you could judge as a bad experience was also a learning experience. And I don't really have too many regrets, because even the things I would say I regretted, I still wouldn't take back for the experience that I've gotten from it.
I just grew up viewing the world, honestly, if I were to sum it up, I just grew up viewing the world as a really harsh, extremely harsh, cruel, yet beautiful, beautiful place. Like, it's both extremely mean, it doesn't give a fuck about you, but if you're strong enough and you could like stand on top of a high enough peak and to be able to look at it for all its glory, it's like looking at Godzilla from a far enough distance destroying a city. Yeah, if you're in that city, you're going to think it's utter hell. But if you're strong enough and have the wits to make it farther out enough to be able to just watch the monster decimate everything, it's the most beautiful fucking thing you've ever seen. And that's my priority, is to be able to at least, I know we're all fucked, but at least let me get a good view of it all. You know, at least let me be able to see it, because maybe I'll survive and maybe I'll be able to
yeah,
teach
the Death Star blowing up from the outside looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
On the inside, it probably was a tragic, horrible thing with people's legs being blown off. People like, I just call my fucking wife. And just like, it was thousands and thousands of people.
Dude, that's the world we live in. It's not about saving the world. It's about saving yourself. The world will be fine without you. The world will live long after you're gone. The world doesn't need your saving. What does need saving is you, is me. I need saving. I gotta save myself.
Your impact matters.
Of course it matters, but everyone's
Even if
impact
it's just
matters.
one or two people.
Everyone,
did
trust
something.
me, everyone's impact matters. You know, we always look at nature as something we have to take care of or we'll kill it. Like, we'll survive without nature. It's like, no. We could destroy every tree. We could burn every lake. We could kill every animal, but nature will persist. It's us that will not survive. You know, like, it's a very narcissistic way of thinking. But we should...
It would make itself so uninhabitable for us, we would just eventually fucking die out.
But nature will persist.
Yeah, eventually. We might fucking fuck it up a little bit.
But it'll still survive.
We'll fuck it up for ourselves.
Exactly. So that's why I agree with the ethos. Like, it's not about saving the world. It's about saving yourself. The world will be fine without you. Trust me. Like, heavy shit. This is probably some of the heaviest content we've gone over in the podcast. We're already well over 2 hours, well past the time. I'm about ready to wrap it up. You want to wrap it up?
I'll wrap it up.
All right, we'll wrap it up. All right, so thank you for listening, everybody. All one or two of you. Good night.
Good
You
night.
guys are great.